and the professor.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to the Learn How to Trade show, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl, Adara. I'm Sharif. What a day we've been having. We popped up. I thought we were going to break 16.2. We absolutely Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Retrace down. And then we try to attempt to take back 16.1 on the NQ, only to see a very clear rejection there. So let's see what we do. Do we hold that 16,000 level, or do we make it back above 16.1, or do we just move sideways? And, you know, because of the shortened week, we'll have to wait and see. How's your morning?
It's been good. Yeah, I have my eye on some shorts. Very happy that I know how to short now, or that I'm more comfortable shorting now, because it seems like a bit of a short market. I have my eye on NVIDIA, but honestly, I've not spent enough time looking at levels yet. I was just up at the big desk, so as always, we need time to kind of compress and look. That being said, I'm very excited to talk about all the new patterns today that we're covering and see if we can kind of find any of those and use those to help the trading, especially in a market as volatile as the one we are seeing today.
Oh, the volatility intraday, especially, Adara, is what day traders thrive off. No intraday volatility, no money. Sorry, just doing a couple of setups here. I keep forgetting that we have our own stream, so I always have the chat up from the morning show.
Yeah,
and then I have to close it, load up the new one. Here is Khoury, 2SS. Thank you very much, my friend, for the 99 super chat. I don't see any message, but if you do have a question or a message, please tag Adara and I, and we will we'll respond to you. So let's get the topics board up if we can, Chilean Nightmare, and let's get going here on today's topic, which is pennants, flags, and head and shoulders. I think that is some of the people, at least I know, that bull flags were my favorite type of chart pattern trading small cappers when I first started, because it gave you an opportunity to get in. Let's get into it right away, because there's a hell of a bull pennant here on ARM. You saw the Neil trading ARM today, and what a nice trade that was, up over 5%. Good look for ARM as it thrives in a down day for NVIDIA. Here's what I'm talking about. Typically now we're going to get the technical definition in a second, but I'm going to give you what I know about it. It's a big move up, and then you have a compression pattern in the shape of a pennant. You have lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, but you also have higher lows, pardon me. And then you have a break of that compression pattern in a decided way. This is your prototypical bull pennant. The exact same applies to the bear pennant. It's just in the inverse. Okay? So this is what we're looking at here. Now, there is one specific thing about pennants and flags that may not be available, or may not be applicable, I should say, to other chart patterns. That is that you can actually measure, gauge, the amount that it's going to move up after it breaks through the pennant, and that is basically supposed to be the exact move initially. So if this was, let's see what the price here was, $59. Let's say the bottom end of this pennant is 59 bucks. It gets up into, let's just say, 61.20. So there should be about $1, or sorry, what did I say? 61.20. So $2.20 move typically once it breaks from the pennant. And that, you know, it's not a hard and fast rule, but the data suggests that that happens more often than not. So let's get into the technical definition. Pennants are represented by two lines that meet at a set point, hence right here, this exact spot right here. They are often formed after strong upward or downward, in the case of a bear pennant, moves where traders pause and the price consolidates before the trend continues in the same direction. And so here is a little bit of an image kind of to help us gauge what I'm trying to say. So you see this move over here? This is the length of this move. You can project northward, in the case of a bull pennant, that it should run up at least that amount. So that is one of the hallmarks of the pennant, is you can kind of gauge how much further north or south it's going to run, and therefore you can base your profit-taking strategy, or your profit-taking plan, I should say, around that kind of measurement. Again, when I say this, guys, I really want to emphasize technical analysis is more of an art than a science. You really need to have a general understanding and not, you know, fixate on the minutia and the the very, very strict interpretation of the rules. It's a general idea there.
I have a question then, actually,
Absolutely.
and it's the same one that I saw in the chat here from, if I can find it, so I have the exact wording. Murtaza, thank you for the question, and I have the same one. So basically, is the pennant and the symmetrical triangle, are they the same, more or less?
Well, no, they don't actually have to be, because
Okay.
typically a bull pennant or a bear pennant is either it's preceded by a big directional move up, like case in point.
So a bull is preceded by an upward move. Bear
Yeah.
would be preceded by a downward move.
Exactly.
Okay.
Whereas a compression pattern in isolation, if you weren't to have the actual staff, what's the pole? The pole, right? What do they call it? The staff? Of
The flagpole?
Yeah, the flagpole.
The flagpole.
Right? Yeah, the flagpole. That's the whole reason that they call it the bull flag or the bull pennant, is
Okay.
because there is a flagpole that holds it up. Whereas a compression pattern,
It's just isolated.
yeah, the what's it called? The triangle. What kind of triangle is it? The one triangle that we did.
Symmetrical triangle.
Symmetrical triangle doesn't, thank you, it doesn't need to be preceded by a big move down or a big move up. It can have all sorts of other formations precede it. So I would say that that's what differentiates a compression pattern from a pennant, the pennant part of the bull flag, the bull pennant.
Cool, thank you, sir. I have one more question then as well.
for it.
So I'm seeing this comment here from Pillsbury, a candle has to form the pole. So then that made me wonder, is the pole basically, because that we have one candle forming the pole.
Come to the chart.
Can a pole be formed by more than one candle? Like if we have a couple candles to the outside?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's just a really specific, really flaggish looking
Yes.
one. Okay,
but
thank you.
we're looking at it on the 5-minute chart. Let's flip it and go to the 1 minute. See what it kind of looks like on the 1 minute. You
okay.
see that?
I see.
So, you know, it doesn't really change a whole lot.
Okay.
But I personally, again, this is one of those ones where you're going to want to look at it on multiple time frames, but it really doesn't.
Yeah, it's kind of the same on all the time frames, yeah.
Right? It's more prolonged. When you look at it on the 1, it's just a longer compression time. Whereas on the 5, it's like, oh, okay, well, it didn't compress for that long, right? So that's a look there. That is the bull pennant. We have an excellent example of that today on ARM. Nice move up for ARM. I don't even know if there's a, Neil, is there a headline on ARM? There's no headline, eh? He's saying strength after earnings. People were waiting, you know, to let it do its thing before they throw money in at it. Yeah, I personally haven't seen, what's it called, a headline today on ARM. And as I look on my blotter, it basically confirms that to me. Up 5 1/3%. What a rocket ship ARM has been. Now above its IPO price, guys. Look, I got to tell you, this is a company that I'm actually genuinely interested in. The amount of companies wanting to adopt their technology for mobile and, you know, cellular, because it takes less energy, therefore it is more battery efficient and energy efficient, better on batteries. I like ARM's technology, quite frankly, but that's neither here nor there. Kevin Johnson, Sharif, how come you guys have split the stream again? I wouldn't mind, but it rarely continues over. And the other day, I ended up clicking on a stream from March. Yeah, it has a tendency to do that. Sorry about that, Kevin. The point is, we're trying to give this show its own identity. The big kahunas, they're trading big boy stocks in the open when it's very volatile. This is a slower time of day. We're trying to take advantage of that slower time of day to, you know, bring the new viewers who may not know the stuff that you know and the stuff that the older viewers and the more experienced viewer know. We need to introduce them into this stuff so that when we're talking about it and the big kahunas are talking about on the close and the open, they're able to keep up and, you know, hopefully stay, because I doubt you guys are going to stay if you don't know what the hell we're talking about and you keep losing money. So the point is to educate, and more educate, and then the big kahunas can give you the actual trades. Joe, Finero, Sharif, Adara, LePage, good morning to you both and happy Turkey Day to y'all. We will take that even though we are Canadian and we already ate our turkey about a month ago.
We did eat our turkey about a month ago. Who says we can't eat more turkey,
I'll eat turkey.
You know
My
what I mean?
My sister's American now. So
oh, right, yeah, I forgot because you have a family in America, yeah. So, I mean, but we appreciate the sentiment regardless of whether or not turkey will be consumed tomorrow. There's also a super chat.
Go for it.
I think you might be able to answer this one better than me, and I'll explain why in a minute. But Cubis, MO85, thank you so much for this super chat. $20 Norwegian kroners. Ascending or descending triangle on the futures?
Ascending or descending triangle on the future.
Question
now,
mark.
first and foremost, I got to tell you, I don't look at the futures from the lens of chart patterns. I got to tell you that offhand, okay? I don't. I like the futures more based on levels. And that's just the way I trade the futures. That's the way Arun has showed me to trade the futures. So I got to tell you offhand, even though they may be applicable, and I'm not saying that they're not, I personally don't look at them through that lens. I just want to make that very clear. Now, which futures contract are you talking about? The NQ and the ES look awfully similar today. They're not diverging that much, but just to narrow it down, I'd like to know what you're talking about. Here, let's look at the NQ for now. What we're seeing, though, Adira, is a higher low, and we're also seeing a lower high. So there is a bit of a compression, but it's really skewed because that lower high is far lower than the higher low is off the lower low.
It's not symmetrical, no, you're right.
So we're tight, we're really tight in a tight range right now. We're stuck between 16.1 and 16. So 16 held to a T right there in the same way that 16.1 rejected to a T. So we'll see what we get. We're dancing at VWAP. We got a higher low, we got a lower high. I don't know what to make of this market at the moment, so hands off for me. And I'll keep watching until something is to my liking. Let's keep looking at the chat here before we go on to that flag. Guys, by the way, the pennant and the flag, very similar. You're going to see why in a second. However, I really wanted to differentiate them because of the nature of the compression, look for the pennant as opposed to the flag. You'll get what I mean in 1 second, but I just want to go up here and make sure that there are no questions that I have missed. Pardon me while I look here at... Bull Shark Trader, every other Canadian has work, and they are special because they follow the U.S. markets. Yes, but we also have to be here when there's Canadian holidays. When there was Thanksgiving in Canada, we were here. We had to drag our rear ends into here, man. Whether we ate a whole bunch of turkey the previous day or not and we were tired, we had to show up to work, baby. So, yeah, the Chilean nightmare, or that was Ram Ram. She was very displeased about that.
Oh, there's more fail.
There's more,
She's taking your thing of just continuously pressing the fail, like the fail remix.
I know.
There
I've
we
gotten
go.
people onto that whole remix thing. Tushar, good morning. Love the shirt, Professor. Yeah, it's barely hanging on to dear life over here, bro. It's tight. Could you please check SMCI for me? Is 240 in the cards, and do you see a pennant on the daily chart? Just because you mentioned pennant, my friend, I'm going to look for that. You smart little duck.
I noticed that,
yeah, because I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, no, I think it seemed intentional, but like, I respect the hustle. So
yeah, I do respect the hustle.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at SMCI, a company that I do like, and I talked about it yesterday as to why I like it. Let me remove Bollinger Bands. We talked about Bollinger Bands yesterday. We're not going to be getting into them today. Yeah. And I don't use them. I got to tell you the truth, quite frankly.
They muddle a chart a little bit, I feel.
They do a little bit,
like, they're interesting if you kind of want a sense of overbought or oversold, like from my limited experience. Yeah. But just having them up, when I was having them up on the chart casually yesterday, it got a skosh distracting.
Skosh, baby. Look, I don't dislike this look. In fact, let me look at the weekly here. Maybe it gives me a bit of a better look. Yeah, look, I got to tell you. This, a bit of a compression pattern, not holding strict. To be quite honest with you, let me move this bad boy down, but you do have something forming akin to a bull pennant. It doesn't actually have to materialize into one, but you had that monster move up in early May for SMCI. It had been moving up essentially since January, it really got going here in January, late January, early February. But there you get the big move up, and then you have the series of higher lows, but you also have a series of lower highs. This one could break, and again, the point of this bad boy is to measure the distance from the top of the pennant to the breakup point. Now, you could use fibs for this, Fibonacci's. We haven't gotten to Fibonacci's. I'm going to show you a quick, easy trick to basically measure from the breakout point where you think the beginning of the pole starts until the top of the pennant, and then you could, look at that. Yeah, because Fibonacci's is all these like numbers and stuff like that.
Spirals.
Yeah, Ram Ram's killing it there on the, or that's not even Ram Ram, that's Chilean Nightmare. My bad. Yeah, both of you guys have long hair, so I couldn't tell.
He's not doing
well, I didn't really look that detailed, sorry. But yeah, to be quite honest with you, there it is. I do agree that you may have something akin to a bull pennant there on SMCI. We'll have to wait and see. You look for that decided breakout through the top, though. All right, going down here, Elon began watching Trader TV in June. Kudos to everyone at the firm. Many thanks. No, many thanks to you, my friend, for being a viewer. We wouldn't be here had it not been for you guys. There's no point for us to be here without you guys. So shout out to you. Let's see what else people are asking here before we move on to the next one. Anything else here? Nick Dubb has a question for you, Adara.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to read it to you, or do you want to find it?
I found it. Yeah, can you guys revisit ADSK? My calls got hammered, and I thought the earnings call was good. I know it was highly valued, 1 upgrade and 1 downgrade. Yeah, I can take a look at this one. Thank you for the question, Nick W. Autodesk. Okay, so down about, this is the daily. I'll pull up, or this is the 5 minutes, sorry. I will look at the daily on this. That was the intraday. Okay, yeah, so this is, we have like a pretty significant spike to the downside here. Honestly, when I pull this one up on the daily, it looked like we almost kind of have the flat channel a little bit here for a while, with a couple, exceptions to the high side or low side. We did break out higher, and then we had this, this earnings reaction, right? Truthfully, I find, especially on the daily, sometimes for myself, it's a little bit difficult to kind of gauge how something's going to go based on its earnings reaction, right? Because sometimes those will be, one thing one day and then another thing the next day. In terms of the daily, this one's still down about 5% on the day, but we've climbed about like $7 since open. So to me, that's pretty significant. I want to look at the analyst ratings on this one because I knew there were some. Oh yeah, so RBC Capital lowering the price target to 250. Morgan Stanley lowering the price target. Piper Sandler downgrading to neutral. Honestly, this one I would say because we had such a sharp move down that it's kind of on the daily that you can see like quite a break of what patterns we were kind of seeing earlier. I would probably wait and see, because we had almost a flat channel on this.
Daily?
Yeah, and then we had this giant gap to the downside, right?
Can you go to the weekly?
I can go. Is there a weekly?
Is there? There's no weekly.
I'll do monthly.
Dang, why is there no weekly there? That's whatever.
Yeah.
Not your fault. Interesting here. Okay.
Yeah, it's certainly, we did have a bit of a spike. Now we're kind of a bit lower. Like it looks sort of, on the monthly, it looks a bit better than it does on the daily.
What do you see there on the after that Christmas tree retracement? Do you see a series of higher lows there?
I was gonna say I think I see higher lows. I see we're consolidating a little bit, but higher lows for sure. Yeah.
Looks like it's definitely the buyers are stepping up, bringing it higher and higher and higher every time around.
Yes.
It dips there. Good look.
Yeah.
There.
So that is thank you for helping me out with that one. Yeah, looking at the monthly on this definitely looks better than the daily. But yeah, massive gap down today after those earnings.
All right, quick question from BlackBerry before we move on to the flag. Sharif, what does it mean when you see a kind of inverse pennant? It's a bear pennant, my friend. Like a trumpet form? Trumpet? Open on the right.
I like that.
Okay, open on the right with higher lows and lower highs. Is it a pennant form too? I can't visualize that, BlackBerry. If you could maybe find some sort of picture that depicts that you can find online, tag me and put the URL in the chat. I'll have a look to see kind of what you mean, because I really don't get that. But in general, let's bring in ARM, because ARM, we're still talking about that. We'll go to the 5-minute look here on ARM. Yeah, so look at this one. This is a prototypical bull pennant. Look at it go. Now, the question is, what I forget and what I need to look up is, do we encounter resistance at the length of the initial bull pennant on like the move up, the breakout from the compression pattern? Do we encounter resistance there, or is that just the minimum it's expected to move? That question I don't know. I need to refresh my memory on that. Maybe I'll look that up while Adara's talking. But this is prototypical bull pennant, beautiful compression pattern after a big move up, and then a continuation. So the bear pennant would be this exact pattern, just opposite. So instead of this big green candle to the upside, it would be to the downside. You would then have it followed by a compression pattern like this, and then instead of breaking up like this, it would break down. There is no difference, okay? And what you want to see is above average volume for the candle that breaks out of the compression pattern. It doesn't have to be the highest volume candle on the day. What it needs to be an outlying volume candle so that you can kind of know, yes, this is the breakout that I was looking for. And then you get that here. I mean, this candle over here, this volume candle over here is not the biggest of the bunch. It's the third biggest on the day, but it's definitely an outlier. Look at it, compare it to the others. So I would say you need to be looking for volume as one of the confirmation indicators when you look for the breakout out of the pennant. That's what I'm going to say about that. Quickly here to Oleg. Oleg, I believe, had a question. Oleg, can TCOM close the gap till 36.33 today? Oleg, my friend, we're doing chart patterns, but because you're a good dude, I'm going to have a look. So the gap, ooh, that's a nasty gap there, eh? Okay, so we close out 32.75-ish, 78-ish, and then we gap up. What was he? 36.33. Oh, he's talking about a higher gap. He's talking about this gap over here. Okay. It's interesting, Oleg, because look, Oleg, look what happened here. This is where we opened up at 4 a.m. yesterday. The resistance level was that 35.50, and then we didn't do better than that. We tanked. And now we're encountering that 4 a.m. area for yesterday, for whatever, what the hell day was it, 21st? We're encountering that as a level of resistance right now. So good question, good charting, by the way. Don't try to guess. Participate, don't anticipate, as the floor manager back in the day used to say here, Gregory, we miss him. He would always say that over and over and over, participate, don't anticipate. So wait for the gap to break, or at least get in, maybe on a 5-minute chart, look for a closing print above that 35.50, and then you can participate instead of just guessing. So that's what I would say to that. All right. Dang it. There's more questions. Sharif, what did you mean when you said measure the flag? What and why measure? Great question. Let me go back to that because it's very important for profit taking. This, come to the chart, Chilean Nightmare. Over here. This is the pole of the flag. Okay, so imagine this whole thing here. This is a flag. And this is the actual flag. The compression pattern is the actual pennant. And this is the pole that holds up the pennant. So you would measure from the breakout area, so around right here, say that 59 area, 59.15, to the top end of the pennant, which is around 61.20. So you know there's about $2.20 worth of price action from the initiation of the bull flag, or the bull pennant, pardon me, 59, to the top of it. Okay, so you know there's about $2.20. What you do is you measure from the breakout area, which would be around right here, which would be about 60 bucks, 60 and 2/3, 60, 63, give or take that area. And then you would add on to 60, 63, $2.20. And whatever number you get from that, you would anticipate that it is going to run up into that area. And the reason that's important is it gives you an idea about where to expect to take profits, right? Rather than taking out profits willy-nilly along the way, this gives you, well, you know, a more defined area to take profits from, Adira.
So I have another question then as well. So I know what we were talking about yesterday and the day before with regards to the amount of times we touch a certain resistance or support level is significant. Is that the same case with the pennants or flags? Like, does it matter how long? I guess it's like the length of how long we're going on in the pattern, in the compression pattern for a flag or a pennant. Is that significant?
That's a good question. I don't think it makes it any less valid to have a shorter one as opposed to a longer one, so long as you have that initial move up and then you get this series of higher lows and lower highs, and then you get a breakout through it.
Okay.
I don't know it to be more important or less important, whereas when it touches a support area or
that's
resistance
a lot
area,
different. Yeah.
It makes it a bit different. But good question.
Thank you.
I do actually, that is something that I may have to look into, but I don't think specifically there is.
Okay.
The Boring Man. I like that name.
I love that name.
Well, isn't that Elon Musk's one of his companies?
Yeah, the Boring Company, I think, yeah.
The Boring Man. Sharif, size of the pole should be the size of the breakout where you take profit. Yes, the entire size of the initial bull pennant, measure that size from the breakout of the pennant, measure it north for a bull pennant, and then guesstimate that you're taking profit at the high end of that area. That's what I would say to you. All right. Let's go on. Let's go on to the bull flag, Adira. So give me a sec, just organize myself here. Now, I don't have a bull flag example, sadly. If anybody has a bull flag example for a live equity, I would love to have it. Tag me in the chat. I think somebody just asked me, scrambled eggs on toast. My man, you are automatically, what the hell is going on with my Stream Deck? Is Stream Deck down, guys? It is. It's making the noise, but it's not doing the animation, so we can hear it in the background. But okay, let me hear. Yes, scrambled eggs on toast. You are the man. Let me have a look at AAPL to see it. No, so I don't like that look on AAPL. This just looks more like a consolidated. Oh, this is SPRC, not AAPL. My mistake. Let's go to Big Tech over here.
He's trying to trip you up.
Oh, here we go. This might be interesting, Adara.
Ooh.
The only thing is, we didn't really make a higher low, right?
Yes.
So if you were looking for that compression, we definitely have lower highs, no question about that. This one, to be honest with you, it kind of looks more like a descending wedge and setting up for a flat bottom break, possibly through that 131, get it together, Sharif, 191 and a third flat bottom break. We tested it there. Look how many times we're getting tests around there. So I do see what you're saying. You like that big move up, and therefore you're looking at this candle here as the pull, but I don't see what you want to see. See what's there, and I don't see higher lows, okay? I need a compression pattern that's showing me a series of higher lows, and I'm not getting it. So you may be right, but this is not your prototypical one.
Huh. Look at that.
Okay, so now we got to move on. We got to move on to the bull flag. So guys, Delta bull flag. Delta has a bull flag. People are saying, okay, sure, let's have a look at DAL. If that's the case, I will use Delta as a bull flag. ARM is an absolute rocket today.
Oh
wow,
my
look
gosh.
at ARM.
It's strong arming the market.
Adara.
I need to stop, but I can't.
You made me do that, oh dear, for John Deere today.
I love that. You were like, shout out to, I literally just sat down and you just said that, and I was like, oh? And
that was all because of you right there.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Spreading around the puns.
No, I don't see a bull flag here on Delta.
I do not.
No,
see
that's
it either.
not my look there. ARM 30-minute chart bull flag last 2 days. Let's get something a little bit less wide than. Let me have a look here. See if there's any bull flag-ish patterns. I don't see any right now. All right, well, I'm not seeing anything at the moment, sadly, so we're going to have to show you exactly kind of what it looks like from previous price action. Let's bring in this chart, and this is the flag. All right, over here. So this is kind of not the way that I wanted to show it because it's far too long. This is probably on the 1 minute chart, but essentially what you have is a big move up, right? Just kind of like the bull pennant where you have that pull, move up, and then you have either a downward sloping, it could be upward sloping, or it could be horizontal. There's really no hard and fast rule, okay? There is no hard and fast rule. It could be upward sloping, downward sloping, or horizontal. In this case, it's downward sloping where you have a series of lower highs and lower lows, and it's still equally as valid. And then look at this. Basically, what you're taking is the entire area of the bull flag. So from wherever you judge the breakout point is, in case, let's just say it's from over here, and then you're measuring it to the high end over here, and then you're projecting that at the breakout area, which in this case is over here. So you're projecting the length of this move over here from over here. And so when we find one, I definitely will make a point to show it to you. But that, for now, we're going to have to do with this previous one. So the flag stock pattern is shaped as a sloping rectangle. It could be upward, downward, or horizontal, where the support and resistance line run parallel until there is a breakout. The breakout is usually the opposite direction of the trend line, meaning that it is a reversal pattern. No, that's incorrect. What is this crap? No, that's not the one. Let me just move down here. Yes, this one over here. I'll send it to you for a second.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I can talk about, it's related to patterns. I can talk about my Netflix trade for a moment here. I like this so far. I'm happy. Basically, why I got in here, and I will say I was about to literally cancel my fill, literally like a second before I got it. And the reason that is because I got a little bit nervous. I doubted myself for a little bit because I was like, you know what, this could be a double top. But then I was like, you know, A, I got filled, and B, I mean, I have to stop doubting. I'm trying to like doubt myself less in terms of points of entry. With this one, I was thinking, you know, Netflix is generally pretty rangy. We had this action a lot yesterday. I'm just gonna awkwardly scroll over to yesterday here. Yeah, so yesterday, okay, well the wicks are kind of, let me see if there's a different time pattern so I can do this without the wicks. But yeah, Netflix is generally, I would say, like you can kind of play in and out of the range here. I was doing that a little bit yesterday as well. So because I've traded the stock a little bit, I feel a bit more comfortable, you know, kind of getting the range here. I have plans of exit if we kind of go below this like 428, 30 area, I'm outie. I would like to, usually I like to take a little bit of profit, maybe around VWAP. Why VWAP? Because it's definitely a point of contention here. And then you know what, if not, I'll probably just take everything, the rest out at this other high. If we don't get to that point, maybe that 481 area. So that is, yeah, my Netflix trade in a nutshell, which is actually I'm trading because of a pattern. Or I guess not a pattern necessarily, just the ranges. If it ends up being a double top, though, I am not going to let it affect me. We will just leave the trade. Let me see if there's any other questions here about. I was seeing earlier some people mentioning a bull pennant on Amazon. So we will take a look at that. Yeah, bull. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. It's definitely one worth watching. It looks like we could be breaking out just a little bit right here as well. There's like 4 candles to the upside on the 3-minute. I'm using the 3-minute too because people were mentioning in the chat the 3-minute is the clearest one for this. I saw it a little bit in the 5-minute as well, which is usually, yeah, I mean, I think it definitely is one to watch. I think it has the bull pennant kind of look for sure. But yeah, so thank you everyone for mentioning that one. If anyone else, of course, has any other questions about pennants or flags or any specific ones, because I know for myself, I find it really helpful to see like when these patterns are forming live in the market and you're able to react to them. So yeah, absolutely. If anyone has any suggestions for us or any questions, let's do it.
This is the one, yeah. Thank you guys for this. So let's put in AMZN over here for the commentary, and I see the tags in the chat, guys. Just gonna finish talking about this bull flag in 1 second, then I'm gonna get to all the questions. So the 3 key takeaways here. It's the exact same as a pennant, save and except for the compression pattern that is subsequent to the big move up, the pull, okay? It becomes a rectangle, whether upward sloping, downward sloping, or horizontal. In this case, I would say it's more horizontal on Amazon, okay? Not saying we're gonna get a breakout. Not every pattern that looks like this is gonna manifest into a flag, into a bull flag. You have to wait for the breakout. Do not anticipate, participate, okay? So have, you know, maybe an order right above there, waiting for the big move up. And again, it should be supported by volume. So the 3 key takeaways are, a flag pattern in technical analysis is a price chart characterized by a sharp counter trend, the flag, succeeded by a short-lived trend, which is basically this over here. The bull flag appears like an upright flag on a price chart with a rectangular price pattern marking the flag itself, hence this part over here. The tighter the flag, the better the signal is said to be. I didn't actually know that last little bit there. But there you go. It's a bit of a tighter flag here. So we'll have to wait and see whether we get a big move up on Amazon. Amazon definitely got my attention this morning for not having retraced the majority of its move. If you have a look at Apple, retraced. If you have a look at even Google, Microsoft, they retraced a little bit. Whereas Amazon kind of just made the move, dropped a little bit, maybe about 75 pennies or so, maybe a dollar, and then trended sideways after breaking out through yesterday's close, which, by the way, was at that just south of 144, 143.90. So that's a good, thank you for pointing out that Amazon example. Says Danny, shout out to Danny. Pillsbury, and Pillsbury said the same thing too. Bull flag on Amazon 30-minute chart. Not even 30-minute, man. It looks fantastic on the 5 over here. Mark G, Sharif, where do we finish up with Nvidia? I don't even know what that is.
Nvidia?
Nvidia. Oh, good question. Geez, man, I'm not even gonna try to take a gander at that one because Nvidia is just so volatile. You can clearly tell the big run up in November was in anticipation of them blowing out earnings. They blew away earnings in every single category. Maybe it wasn't as robust as the one prior, but it was definitely ahead of all analyst estimates, and we'll have to wait and see what it does. But it seems like it's a sell the news event on their earnings as of late anyway. All right, Kyle Burdett, Big Kyle. I like Kyle. How do you describe the 5-minute chart on SPY? Many here surely trade options on it, and it's showing a wedge currently. Let's have a look at the SPY, even though we're not talking about wedges today, Kyle, but we're going to have a look here. On what he's doing, let me look up the 5-minute. So I've got the 5-minute. Yeah, I agree. Kyle. Look at this. We're compressing. Again, I don't necessarily like to trade these patterns on the future, just because I'm more inclined to want to take price levels. But yeah, I do see that. We'll have to wait and see. Personally, what I'm looking for on the future, and if I can digress for a second and talk here about the future, let's go NQ. I don't have all day. It's a live show, bro. Futures.
Hurry up, NQ.
I know, right? What I'm looking for here, Kyle, clearly we're stuck in a range. We're stuck in between 16 to the south side and 16.1 to the north side. What I want to see here is a decided take of one of those levels. You want to break below 16,000? Fine, go. Do it. But show me that you're going to do it and close, and show me decisively. You want to break above 16.1? Fine. I'm fine with that as well. Break above 16.1, but it's got to be done on a conclusive, or not conclusive, there's no such thing as conclusive in this game, but on a more convincing basis. Now, what I was telling Adara when we sat down, I said to her, like, look at how we wicked off 16,000, bounced right back up, and look how we wicked off 16.1 and bounced right back down. So what I want to see when we get back, if we get back into 16.1, how we trade around there. Are we going to wick into 16.1 and then close south of it, showing that sellers are overwhelming buyers? Or are we going to have a decided break of 16.1 and then retrace back into 16.1 only to have buyers overwhelm sellers at that level? That's what I'll be looking for on the NQ should it come into there. I don't necessarily like using chart patterns. Sharif, is Boeing showing a bearing move with a hammer? Let's have a look at BA.
So I guess what is a hammer then in terms of?
A hammer candle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like basically when you have a really, well, it doesn't even have to be a long candle. It can be, typically what you want is an upper body, the body of the candle, like whatever it is over here, should be towards the top of the candle, and there should be a bigger bottom wick. So it looks like it moved all the way down, and then buyers bought it right back up, and then the body of the candle closed towards the higher end of the candle, giving you a larger bottom wick.
Okay.
That's a bullish. Typically, it's bullish. We're going to get to candlestick patterns in an upcoming week. Right now, we're talking about chart patterns. But yeah, keep going here. Let's see some of the questions. Kyle Spy just broke the pattern. He says, Henry Chung, were you looking for a bull flag on the daily time frame? It doesn't really matter, Henry. To be honest with you, we're trying to give people examples of the chart patterns so they can see it visually and not just, give you random pictures of a random stock. If I can show you, like I did on Amazon, a nice bull flag live, I think that'll help for, absorption of the material. Moving down, before we move on to the head and shoulders.
And knees and toes.
By the way, sorry, one thing I negated to mention, bull flags and bull pennants, they're continuation patterns, meaning that they're continuing in the direction of the trend, right? Remember we talked about yesterday how we kept seeing these ascending or descending wedges or ascending or descending triangles outside of the regular context. So the Lee Auto example I kept giving, where we had a descending wedge after a big move up. Typically, it should have been preceded by a big move down and then a descending wedge and then a breakdown of the flat bottom. That wasn't what we saw. And so what I want to show you in this case is bull flags. Let's go back to ARM over here. This is preceded by a big move up. So you have the bull flag continue over here. We're moving up on the day. So this is the big move up, and then you continue upward. So when we get to head and shoulders is a reversal pattern, and we'll talk about that in a second. All right, Amma Hamada. NTDOY kind of has a bull flag. I guess that's on the OTC market. Kind of has a bull flag candle. Pull interrupted. Okay, well, I'm not going to go into the OTC markets just for now. Elon, is NVIDIA a bear flag today? I don't know. Let's have a look at NVIDIA. You can come to the chart. Very nicely spotted. Now, this is an interesting one here. This is an interesting one. We're going to have to wait and see, but this could be a very interesting bear pennant. okay? Because what we're getting here is a series of lower highs, and we're also getting higher lows. So we have a bit of a compression pattern forming after a big move down. So this could actually break down. Again, not all these types of patterns are going to resolve in that direction, but you have to be cognizant of them. But very good, very well spotted, Elon. Shout out to you for that. Yeah, that looks really good here. We're going to have to wait and see if this actually materializes or not. But good look. Nick Dubb, $2 super chat. Adara, love your learning CRM breakout thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you. I appreciate the support here. CRM, let me see. Yeah, I'm going to move to a daily on this because I would have to, the 5 minute to me is a skosh messy.
Skosh.
Just a skosh. Maybe more than a skosh, but I'm going to look at the daily first. Yeah, breakout. Okay, I'm going to look at a couple more charts on this just because I am not, yeah, this one seems to be really like chop and churn. So the monthly, we're moving to the upside. We had, went really high, went back down to the low. I mean, it kind of looks like we're kind of chopping and churning to the upside a little bit. What makes me interested here is we have the lower lows here slightly, kind of around this mid 2022 area on the monthly. Yeah, there's no weekly. It's weird that there's no weekly because I was just gonna look at the weekly, but yeah, no weekly unfortunately. On the daily, it looks. Let's move out. Yeah, breakout. I'm not quite sure about a breakout. On the daily, it looks like we kind of have the a rounded top type situation. Could be a bit of a frowny face there. The opposite of a smiley face. Yeah, I don't know if there's like different insight on this that I'm not seeing, but yeah, I'm not quite seeing a CRM breakout. Let me see. Let me look at the daily or like the intraday on this again. Yeah, I think definitely like we're below VWAP right now. I honestly would say my general thoughts on this and all the charts I have seen on this right now is pretty consolidative. I'm gonna see if there's any, because we're kind of chopping and turning. There's not a huge sense of direction, in my opinion anyway. On the daily, okay, Nick W specified the daily. Yeah, okay, on the daily, yeah, I'm still not seeing much of a breakout. Like I think I would kind of wait and see what we do the next couple of days here, right? But to me, it looks like we had this other, if anything, maybe a slightly lower high on the daily. I'm going to zoom out here. Yeah, but yeah, like to me, it's a lower high. I'm not getting a huge sense of a breakout at this juncture. And we also have lower lows too.
I like this company.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I like Mark Benioff. I think he's a hell of a...
Yeah, CRM is cool, yeah.
Yeah. But chart pattern looks a little
Kyle
wonky. Burdett. I'm not going to say the name that you said. I'm going to say the Commanders because I don't want to get canceled. But yeah, the Commanders points duel on the Cowboys versus the Commanders game tomorrow. We are going to whoop them. We're going to whoop them into an oblivion. We're playing at home. They suck. We're good. And 4:30 tomorrow, be there or be square. Dallas plays Washington. Can't wait. 3 nice games tomorrow. Green Bay, Detroit, San Francisco, Seattle. We'll see what happens tomorrow, Big Kyle. Let's go down here and keep seeing what else. Dewey Tran. I hope I didn't butcher your name, and if I did, I'm sorry. Sharif, for how well NVIDIA was on earnings, why did the stock go down instead of upward trend? That's a good question, man. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the run-up into the actual earnings. And I'm sure you noticed NVIDIA's up 25% for a $400 stock, well, now $500, in a matter of 3 weeks because it bottomed out like locally October 31st on Halloween. Since the first of the month, it's up 25%. That's not really for no reason. People buy the stock in anticipation of a good earnings, thinking, they want to jump the gun. They want to be ahead of everybody before the earnings come out. This is something called buy the rumor, sell the news, or some derivative thereof, right? And so typically what happens sometimes in these cases where there's been such a big run up in anticipation of good earnings that you have the actual liquidation and the taking of profit by whether traders or investors, what have you, at that level. Now, that's in stark contrast to when you anticipate mediocre earnings or not so good earnings, and then you get a good earnings report or a good guide or something equivalent to that. then you're going to see it run for days and even immediately afterwards, Adara. So when you have, general consensus that things are going to be really good and the stock moves up into earnings, sometimes you have a sell-off subsequent to earnings, but when you don't anticipate good earnings or mediocre earnings and then you get a blowout report, usually it'll run after that. So hope that helps, my friend. Hog Rider. I like that name, man. Who can not like that name?
Right? So fun.
How do you get yourself not to overtrade? I make good trades and give it all back. Today I made 2 trades and made $200. I have not traded because I don't want to give it back. That's a good question, man. And we're going to get into the psychology of things after. There's any number of rules that you can employ. You can employ a maximum trade rule. You can employ, a goal, the achievement of a goal. So in your case, say your goal that day was to make $200 or whatever it was. You reach that goal, you shut yourself down. There's any number of different little rules that you can employ to kind of help yourself get away from that. But what I really think it comes down to is repetition, repetition, and more repetition. The more times you do this crazy game we call trading, the better you're going to become at it. Adara, I'm sure you can obviously attest to that.
Yeah.
Well, I can as well. I'm still newer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool too. I like that you called it the crazy game of trading. That's why I was kind of laughing. But no, I agree. Like sometimes you see what you think is a setup and it doesn't come to fruition, or then maybe it comes to fruition later. And I think a big thing too that you learn from practice is points of entry. Like not just jumping in on the first kind of maybe something you see. I'm going to use an example because I like looking at examples and I like talking through examples. That is not the right ticker for Meta. Here is Meta. So this trade I liked because I was seeing higher highs, and at this point we were seeing a little bit of run up around that 341.30 area, which is why I entered there. And then I got out because I was like, my rule is if we kind of decisively have a break below that 341, that VWAP area, I'm out. I got out, but it turns out I could have stayed or I could have gotten in a little bit later because now we're actually seeing what I thought we were going to be seeing, right? Which is higher highs and higher lows. So I think sometimes it's just waiting a bit and having a bit more trust in yourself too, but I think that comes with practice. I honestly, in terms of over trading, like I said, I don't trade that much today in the day. I'm pretty much trading during the midday, so I don't really know if I have the right answer for that. But sometimes I find if I'm making like kind of more impulsive decisions or trying to force myself into trades, that's when I'm just kind of like, take a deep breath, wait and see what actually is happening, what's going on in the market. And just think about names you like, look at catalysts, and yeah, just don't push yourself. That would be my big thing. But part of why I find the chart pattern week so helpful, like for myself, like learning and taking notes, but also to talk about with everyone, is I find like the more comfortable you are with kind of patterns, as imperfect as they are, I think it kind of helps like feel more confident in your movements.
Absolutely. Kyle's like, yo, put your points where your confidence is, boy. You wanna cheer on your Cowboys? Put your money where your mouth is. Dude, I never gamble on sports, and I really haven't. I might have done like 1 or 2 bets back 10, 15 years ago. Never been my thing. I'm just interested in the sport for the sake of the sport. I know a lot of people really need to have money on the line in order to really be more engaged with the game. That's not me. I'm just more happy to come in on Monday and then tell Neil all about it. That's really why. Like, subscribe, and share it. The show that takes you into the heart of the market every day. He was so slick.
I like that you pop up at the start of that one. Yeah. Like you literally oh, Neil's making a face.
He's looking at. That's Fei-Fei's creation over there. Fei-Fei is the one that made that animation. Then Neil give me the Matumble finger. We're gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, my man's team did well. He's flying high this week. Buffalo whooped. Yeah, he's pumped. He's pumped. I'm happy for him. I'm not gonna hate on him. I'm happy for him. Say again.
Got a bit of a gauntlet.
He says he's got a bit of a gauntlet coming through.
Oh.
Yeah, he gets the mic, baby. There we go.
The difference between myself and Sharif is I will sit here and the Bills could be absolute. They could be crap. Josh Allen could throw a million picks, but I'm going to rep my squad no matter what. They could be up against, they got to go against Philly. They got to go against KC. They're running the gauntlet the next few weeks here, but I don't give a damn. Ride or die. It's all about Bills Mafia over here. Sharif's going to be talk all that nonsense when they're winning. But we'll see what's up when. Okay.
I'm here taking everybody's heat and vitriol when they lose, and I absorb all of it.
If you guys lose to Washington, I'm just saying, if you lose to Washington tomorrow, We're gonna do a wellness check on Sharif, okay? I promise you this. I'm taking full responsibility. If the Dallas Cowboys lose to Washington, I will personally reach out and make sure that Sharif is okay. Because we're a family at Trader TV Live. We always want to make sure everybody's all right. So I know he's gonna be down in the dumps, so we're gonna be there for him. That's all I gotta say.
I had 5 opportunities to do that.
Mic dropped.
5 opportunities because you guys have 5 L's. I didn't do that to you one time. Let it be known.
Let it be known.
We're having a great time over here, guys.
crazy.
All love between the Neil and I. Going down the chart, the chat over here. The chat loves it. Yeah, we're always gonna have that back and forth stuff. That's just the way it is, baby. Adira, anything to add?
Yeah, okay, so for one, there's a question,
Yeah.
or I guess,
Uncle Roger with the dub.
yeah, sorry, I got distracted by that. Elon, in the chat, like at this moment, NVIDIA is trailing up, and if it's a bear flag, then it's a bear trap. So I was looking at this, and I guess I have a couple questions then. So, would this be more kind of a bear flag, or could it potentially be an ascending triangle? Because we have this touch of this top a couple times, and more or less slightly higher highs, or higher lows, sorry. So I guess are there times when it's kind of more difficult to discern a pattern? And in this case, what direction would this maybe move from here? Because if it is an ascending, triangle, it would more likely break to the upside. But we're also down on the day. So I guess I don't know if this is clear. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious as to what.
Remember my trade yesterday on NVIDIA? That banger
from like at the bottom. Yeah,
it was exactly. It looked like
was.
that. It
okay.
looked exactly like
You're
that.
right.
Let me
okay.
just move out. So again, I think everybody really heard when I said this. Here it is.
Oh,
Let
this
me
is
just
beautiful.
zoom in. This was an ascending. I have multiple trades on it yesterday, but let me just zoom in a little bit here. Oh, this isn't it. This is not it. Oh, let me look at the 5 quickly here, because it looked a little bit better yesterday. More clear, that's what I meant. Okay, so this is not the one from yesterday. Okay, so that's not it. But to answer the question, not all, all price action on a chart that may be similar to a bull flag.
Doesn't always, yeah.
May not always manifest into it. But good look there. Let's just, let's wait to see what happens. But right now it could be an ascending wedge with a flat top break through that 496. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But that is a good observation there.
Yeah, there's another question too I saw from BlackBerry earlier. I can imagine that with a tighter flag come more stable volume, and that's why it's better. Just a guess. I know, I think volume that's an interesting question. I don't actually necessarily know the answer. I know we're talking about breakout usually for a lot of these patterns. The better volume, the more discernible the movement is. Yes. I don't know why I keep saying discern today. I guess it's my word of the day. but yeah, I think so. But that's interesting. So is it like the more consistent volume? Is that more important for a flag? I guess going into it, if you have tighter flag comes more stable volume. Is that?
Well,
is that consistent,
the volume that I'm looking at on the bull flag or the bear or the pennant and the flag, what I'm looking at is volume on the actual breakout of either the consolidation area on the flag or the compression area.
Okay, so breakout is still more important.
Yeah,
okay.
That's where I'm really focused on the volume. Those 2 parts, when they break out or break down.
Okay.
That's where I'm looking for volume.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
No problem, of course. Going down here, let's just see what everybody's talking about. Anything else? Kyle. If the commies win, Sharif will never hear the end of it from me. Yeah, woo! Kyle, I'm worried, bro. You got me. Look, man, that's fine. You want to troll me, you troll me. And you'll be justified in doing so because Dallas should take care of the Commanders. If they don't, well, then I'm going to have to deal with you guys in the chat. I'm going to have to deal with the Neil. Sean is nice enough not to troll, maybe because his boys are absolutely getting killed this year. And they suck.
You just turned that into a roast.
Hey? That has something to do with it, says the deal, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Brent Oil, says the boring man. Brent Oil had a big down day. Do you see a bear flag there? Oh, okay, my man. Let's have a look here at the CL. We're going to have a look at the CL contract over here. The CL is what we call the light sweet crude oil futures. We're going to go to the December futures contract. I do not see a flag there. Let me go over here. So this is the price action. Now we can look at it on multiple time frames to have a look to see what we got. Yeah, see, the thing is there, look at this actual area over here. There's no specific level. We're not seeing, a horizontal rectangle. We're not seeing an upwardly pointed rectangle or a downward pointed rectangle. We're seeing all sorts of bizarre price action right there after that big move down. So just because we had a big move down and then a sideways consolidation doesn't necessarily equate to a bear flag or a bear pennant. I don't agree that that's what I see here on the CL. We'll have to wait and see. But look, it looks like it's coming back in the view up around 74, 75. So we'll have to see how it does there. All right. Eddie R., do we have a bond auction today? Yes, sir, we do. We do. I believe it's already come and gone. It was the 8-week and the 4-week. We didn't do any housekeeping. I'm sorry, guys. I usually do the housekeeping, but when we're doing these lessons, sometimes I forget. The 4-week auction was met with a little bit weaker demand. Again, we don't put too much stock into these shorter dated treasuries as we do into the longer dated ones, the 10, the 20, the 30. The 4-week, the previous print on the yield was 5.290. This time was 5.3, so a skosh higher. The 8-week bill auction, the previous print comes in the exact same, 5.280. This time, same thing. We also have nat gas storage, and I've been getting rinsed on my nat gas trade, but it's been made up by other made up for by other things. I've been really trying to hold on to this nat gas thing, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to hold on to it. Nat gas storage coming in at 12 o'clock, so we'll be getting that in 4 minutes. We're looking for a consensus of 7 billion barrels. What is that? 60 billion. We'll have to see what we get there. It's only 1 of 3 in importance by investing.com, but maybe because they're not invested in nat gas, so they don't give. They don't know. They don't care at all. Tammy B. MRAI forming head and shoulders now. Thank you. Let's have a look at MRAI. That's another small cap gapper. Top of my list, up 83.5% today. I've been seeing it. Trust me, I know all about it.
And a good transition into head and shoulders.
Well, let's have a look. Let's see if it is a head and
Let's see
shoulders.
if it works.
Yes and no. It's not as well defined. This is not the one I would use, Tammy, to really kind of like show you the prototypical head and shoulders. It needs to have a more well-defined left shoulder. But you may not be wrong. We're going to get to head and shoulders. In fact, let's get to it right now because we've been on this one a little bit too long. Oh, sorry. My bad. Can you reset that for me? Because I tried to hit it there. And, yeah, I apologize. Is that Ram now? Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, I see slippers. Now I know it's Ram. Say that again? Yeah, I only have the next. Yeah, I need to probably put the previous. Thanks, Ram. All right. Head and shoulders, Adara. Head and shoulders pattern. We're going to leave this one up for now on it, but here's what we got for head and shoulders. What you need to know is it is a reversal pattern. So unlike the patterns that we've been talking about, all of which have been continuation patterns so far, a bull flag, a bull pennant. We talked about we didn't talk about patterns yesterday. We talked about channels, but the day prior we talked about ascending wedges, descending wedges. They are all continuation patterns, meaning that they happen in areas of downtrends and then continue to downtrend, or they happen in areas of uptrends and then continue to uptrend? No, a head and shoulders is a reversal. So if you find a head and shoulders pattern, it is indicating that we are reversing the price trend. So if we were moving up, it is an indication of moving down. If you see an inverse head and shoulders on a downtrend, it is an indication that you may move up. So our head and shoulders is a reversal pattern. You can have a look at this screen. So here are the 4 key takeaways that you need to know about a head and shoulders pattern. A head and shoulders pattern is a technical indicator within a chart, a pattern of 3 peaks, where the outer 2 are close in height and the middle is the highest. So hence the shoulders. So my shoulders are of equal height, where my head is obviously higher. So you're looking for 2 defined peaks to the left and the right of the major peak. That's what you're looking for. And that's why I was hesitant to say that this one was a head and shoulders pattern, because I didn't really see that defined left shoulder. Second point, a head and shoulders pattern, considered one of the most reliable trend reversal patterns, is a chart formation that predicts a bullish to bearish trend reversal. Okay? Number 3, an inverse head and shoulders pattern predicts a bearish to bullish trend. Again, it's a reversal pattern. The neckline rests at the support of the resistance line depending on the pattern direction. Now, let's pretend over here, because we don't have a better example at the moment, that this is a head and shoulders pattern, okay? Let's just pretend for a second. This here would be the neckline. So the way that you would know, let me get in, you make that right shoulder, you move up, so then you define that right shoulder, and then you're looking for a break of this area. And once you have a break of this line right here, that's where you're punching in. That's where you're waiting for confirmation. Let me bring in an actual picture of it. Open image in new tab. Here it is. This is a better one. So you have the head, you have the left shoulder, and you have the right shoulder. And this line over here denotes the actual neckline. So yeah.
I didn't know that part.
Exactly. And then you're looking for the break of that neckline. And in the same way, Adira, that we were looking for volume on the break of the pennant or the flag, you're looking for volume on the break of the neckline. So volume should be one of the confirmatory indicators that you look for. You're looking for above average volume on the break of the neckline. So that's the head and shoulders pattern. As soon as I find a better one here to show you guys on live trading, I will definitely do so. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess one thing that I find that kind of tripped me up when I first started is I find sometimes I found it a little bit difficult to kind of decide, and I had the same thing with retracements as well, between like a head and a shoulders, and if we're actually just continuing to go higher, right? Because it looks like at one point you are seeing basically higher highs. So I guess, is there like a way to kind of tell if what you're seeing is more of a head to shoulders, or is it going to be like when you just have the first shoulder and the head, I guess?
Yeah.
Is it, I guess, like wait until the second shoulder comes in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're not supposed to get into this trade, Adira, until the right shoulder develops and then it comes down and breaks the neckline. That's where you're getting in.
So that's where you're trying to wait. So, because I guess my thing was too, when I first started, I would kind of see the shoulder and the head, and I'd be like, oh, we're going higher, and then try to get on the dip, and then we crash to the downside.
Look, I'm not going to tell you how to trade. I mean,
no, that's true. I'm just curious.
Right?
Yeah.
If you want to get in, come to the chart for a sec. If you want to get in right here and risk that this may not materialize into a head and shoulders pattern, but you obviously get a lot more reward if you're right, because you have a way better price getting in short. What we want to really tell people is, you know, to preserve capital and to preserve their account, to take higher probability trades.
Yeah.
And in this case, the higher probability trade would be to let the shoulder develop,
and
break
then
the
take
neckline on higher volume, and then take it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I think my issue is I would kind of see like that kind of trough between the head and the second shoulder, and I would think that would be a long, and then it would kind of backfire on me. So I think it's a good pattern to learn.
Absolutely.
For sure. Also, question from Tonal Tunes. For me, do I play the piano? I do play the piano. Super random question, but I do play the piano. Yeah, cool.
What's your best piece that you can play on?
Oh, I like to play a lot of stuff by ear. If anyone knows, Sing About, this is so obscure, but Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst by Kendrick Lamar. That one I can play, and that was kind of a fun one.
We're gonna have to have you on. Bring it. I got a keyboard at home.
Actually, so do I. Yeah.
I'll bring it. You don't even know. I'll drive and I'll bring it. And we're gonna have a full out Adira jam sesh on the piano, baby. And it's gonna be a scene.
Also, an update here in terms of patterns and. So this, I was trying to range short Netflix, and I was like, if we break 481, I am out. We broke 481, but we went lower, so my instinct was correct. I will take the validation of my instinct being right, but also, we were talking about risk management. I had to get out when I had to get out. But yeah, I just wanted to address the deep sadness that I feel about this. That being said, this little long into VWAP was really nice and made up for our unfortunate mishap with the short. And if this pattern, because I'm seeing lower highs, if we continue to have range plays within here, I'm gonna have to take it up on that. There we go.
Okay, cool. All right, Tai, I looked for what you were saying between 2020 to 2022 for the head and shoulders on Tesla. This is not the look that I'm going for. I need a much more defined pattern to explain to people that are just getting to know these type of patterns. This isn't it. I would go with something like this. I'm going to keep leaving this one up here. That's a much more defined. I have better examples. I'll find them shortly. Bernard, does it matter which time frame you are using to look at these chart patterns? No, this is something we talked about starting on Monday when we introduced chart patterns. all these patterns are fractal. Fractal meaning that you can use them on any time frame. You want to trade on the weekly, you want to trade on the daily, hourly, 4 hour, 5, 10, you guys get it? No, they are absolutely tradable on all time frames. However, the lower the time frame, so say a 1, a 3, a 5, the more subject and more likely that it could be a fake out. The more the bigger, the higher the time frame, the monthly, the weekly, the daily, the more likely that the pattern is actually accurate. Okay, a lot more noise. We know that because same thing with support and resistance. When you see a support level touch on the weekly 10 times, it is not the same as seeing a support level touch 10 times on the 10-minute chart. It really is. There's a lot more weight to that weekly chart. Okay, so the higher the time frame, the more accurate and the more likely it is to be accurate. That's what I want to say there. But absolutely, they are tradable on all time frames. Very good question. Something that I can't stress enough, but something that we've answered many times already. But I'm sure, people want to know. UNG is pumping. No, we probably had a good nat gas print. Go UNG, go UNG. I'm so sick of this trade. Yeah, that's a nice move up, but it's not going to get me excited. Now we're back to $6 on UNG. I was supposed to get out at $6, so don't remind me. The Katina man, he was making me feel bad about this trade.
Oh, this morning? Yeah.
Sharif, you deserve the title, Professor. Oh, thank you, Thomas. I appreciate you, my friend. That is very nice of you to say. Sharif, please check Nat Gas is booming, says Danny. Yeah, my friend, we just had the Nat Gas inventory print. Remember I was telling you about that? At 12 o'clock, we had the Nat Gas. So we thought we would have what is this 7B? Does that mean 7 billion barrels? What is this?
Or just 7 barrels, the B is barrel.
I really don't. So the consensus look here was 7B. We got a negative print of 7B. So the lesser amount we have in storage, the higher the print. Obviously, it's a supply-demand thing. That's why. We got the Nat Gas storage at 12 o'clock. In case you're wondering where I'm looking, investing.com app on my phone. It's free. Create an account, and you get these data points there. Yeah, shout out to you. Thank you for pointing that out, DH. All right, keep going down here. Let's see, anybody talking about anything? Go ahead, Adira.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I saw Casual in the chat, fun name. Head and Shoulders just went off on the 1-minute PLTR.
Okay.
I see it on the 3-minute as well, so I'm just going to pull up the 3-minute so it's slightly less candles. At least in my opinion, I think we're kind of waiting for that second shoulder there. But yeah, so we have, I guess it's kind of like a longer term, but yeah, we have a shoulder, we have a head, or I guess maybe this is the shoulder and this is the head.
That's not enough.
Is it not?
No.
Okay,
no. It's not enough, no.
Okay.
No, it needs to be
It needs to be more decisive?
It really needs to be, I don't want to say it has to be this, Adira. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it has to be much more clearly defined.
More decisive,
Now, where it can vary is sometimes the right shoulder higher than the left or lower than the left.
Okay.
They don't actually have to be equidistant.
So they can, like someone can be part shrugging.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
there we
could
go.
have a little bit of a hunch one way or another, right? No, you're right. And sometimes the distance between the left shoulder and the head is a little longer than the right shoulder and the head. That's where we can have
a little bit more variance.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But there has to be clearly defined peaks and then a clearly defined neckline break. Now, there in the technical analysis book, it'll talk a little bit more, and we're not going to get into it because it becomes more complicated. But sometimes the neckline of the right shoulder is higher than the neckline of the left shoulder.
Really?
That's actually more bearish. Right, whereas the neckline of the right shoulder, if it was lower than the neckline of the left shoulder, it's more bullish, and that's just data analysis. That wasn't actually.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
okay, I want to do more reading on that now.
So, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with respect to the head and shoulders pattern on PLTR.
That's fair. Yeah.
I see what you're talking about, the head, the shoulder, but that's just not enough for me. That's more of a consolidative sideways movement. It's an art, not a science, says Robot. Absolutely true. It is an art, not a science. You need to look at this with more of a flexible perspective rather than a stringent, no, I need to see X, Y, and Z for it to happen. If I don't see X, Y, and Z, it's wrong. Quickly here, BlackBerry. In the head and shoulders pattern, I saw multiple tests on the neckline, of the neckline different times. So would you say the volume is the most trustworthy sign? I don't know if I would say it's the most trustworthy sign, but you definitely need to be looking at volume for the decisive break of the neckline. as a confirmation, one of the confirmation indicators you can be looking at. There are others, right? You have to look at the time in sales, the level 2, a lot of other indicators you can be looking at. You can be looking at whether to see on the RSI if it was oversold, many different things that you can employ. But I would say volume is definitely one important one. And I got to interrupt here myself, but ARM is up 8.8%. ARM is an absolute rocket on the day. I don't have any idea what the hell is going on with the stock, but it is having itself one of the best days, I would say, post IPO.
This is
What
gorgeous.
a look for ARM.
Oh my God.
Neil, are you still in this? He got out, and Neil took his profits and ran there. But, eh? Oh, okay, I thought he was talking to me. Say again? He was in ARM. I saw him in ARM. No, I didn't mean long term. I thought on the day trade. Yeah. ARM is absolutely pumping to the high side. We are knocking on the door of that 64 area, and we're now up almost 9% on ARM. It is moving up here. Something tells me this is a bit, maybe even a bit of a short squeeze here. Let's have a look at the
crazy.
Hourly. Adara, we haven't been up here since the IPO. Yeah, this
IPO was crazy also. Yeah. This is the first IPO I saw.
Right? Okay, so let's go to the daily because we need to know where the resistance levels are going to be. We know that it's likely going to be around 68 bucks. The first resistance level, we're in a bit of a gap now between here and 68, and then we have the opening of the day after the IPO, which was September 15th. We have that level at 68 and 2/3, with the ultimate high being that 70.5 area. But ARM is an absolute rocket ship on the day. I like this company. I like it like SMCI. These are, I'm not invested in either of them, full disclosure, but I do like them. Adira, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting to see how, too, that's a very clear example of a bull flag that just kind of kept running to the upside after that point. Like, I think, and it's cool that we happen to have this example today, too, right? Because it's a beautiful example. I love when that happens. Also, NVIDIA just kind of looking like we were sort of in a flat channel earlier. Now we are breaking above VWAP. If we break VWAP, I could be enticed. I could be intrigued. And why I say like vaguely a flat channel situation, we had for a while we were chopping and churning.
Right. Yeah.
I would make the case that it's a flat channel, or it was, and then we said bye bye, and we hit that top for a while. Like we're dancing around the top, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like yeah. The point I'm trying to make is I think like the patterns really do not always manifest, but sometimes they do if you kind of keep an eye out. And I think it's good to be able to kind of know them better, at least for myself.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone else has any questions too, yeah, of course.
The Katina man is now short NVIDIA. So anybody following along with Sean's trades, he's short NVIDIA at that 487 level. It's coming into VWAP. It could encounter resistance here. So yeah, be made aware if you're following along with Sean's trades. Probably a good time to look at the future right now because we just got back into that 16.1 area, and lo and behold, well, we rejected yet again. What was the actual print there? In fact, it was 16.102. What was the previous print there? 16.099 did we get? So we haven't been above 16.1 since that opening break, and then we Christmas treed all the way back down into that 1600 hold. Here we are at 16.1 again. And this is what I want to talk about, right? When we're looking at this futures trade, we're looking at how it's trading at these key levels. To me, the first order of business is to identify these key levels, right? To me, I always like the 100-point levels. They're important to me. And I also like previous day's closing print as areas of support and resistance on the future, okay? Now, we're at 16.1. So for me to be enticed to get into a long here, we have to break north of 16.1, all right? And then retrace back into 16.1 and hold and show me the wicks bouncing off 16.1 from south to north and having a print close above 16.1. Until that time happens, this is a short, in my opinion. And look at it go down. It just popped down 20 points. So it looks like we're getting a second rejection for now, Adara, for now, at that 16.1 level on the NQ. Yeah, this is, wow, look at that. You could have easily taken 20 points and ran and went home at that point. So nice rejection right now on 16. Well, look at it tank, man. Here comes that 25 point.
Yeah, this isn't nuts.
The Katina man obviously is printing on that NVIDIA short there, as NVIDIA does do that VWAP projection. Say that again? The Katina added more. The Katina man.
Now he's
more.
just the Katina.
Yeah, that was like a Ram chart thing. Over there she is. She's shaking her head. She's displeased. We need a poll. Should we make a Ram chart T-shirt?
I am now.
I like it.
I think it's entertaining.
We're having a good time, guys. All right,
always do.
so 16-1 rejecting for now, and we are at critical level. I would say VWAP on NVDA, so keep your eyes open there. All right, let's circle back to actually you want to circle back to Pennants?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, so take Pennants this time, and I'll take flags.
Yeah, let's talk about pennants. Let me just get the notes open here. Yeah, so pennants are basically when you have two lines that meet at a set point, and they're often formed after a strong upward or downward move. They're kind of like a breathing space, I guess, for traders to kind of pause, where the price is going to consolidate, and then the trend will eventually continue in the same direction. So let me pull. This is kind of the image here. Price projection is basically, so the price projection is the height of the pennant. And then that's kind of, this kind of, I guess, movement is what you use to kind of gauge when we break out, the extent to which we'll break out, right? And that's where you might want to kind of plan your trade the breakout, as it kind of says here. You'll see a little bit of like, consolidation kind of moving in and out here, a bit more, I guess, hard to predict kind of rangier movement, getting tighter and tighter until we break out to the upside or the downside, depending on what kind of pennant it is. So there are bear pennants, and then the bear pennants, we kind of have a movement downwards. There's like a little bit of a flag pull, I guess, or not. I guess the flag pull is more so in the flag. But yeah, basically with the pennant, you will have, if anyone has any examples too, so I can kind of like refer to a pennant, I would love that. But yeah, so basically if they're...
Arm.
Oh, arm. Is that a flag though or a pennant?
That's a pennant.
Oh, that is a pennant.
Yeah,
okay,
it's
perfect.
a compression pattern.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Sorry about
Problem.
that. But yeah, so I mean, here is the arm. I'll move to a 5-minute on this. Yeah, so we did have, here's the flag, here's the pennant, and you can kind of use like the movement here, the strength that we had here on the flagpole to kind of gauge where that breakout was going to be. So this is a super clear one. And we did have, I will draw lines, and I'm not a very good artist, so apologies in advance. But I know this is an art, but still difficult. But trading is an art, so there we go.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
exactly.
So here's our flagpole. This is kind of where you could measure the movement to be. We had like 59 to about 60. So it's about like $1.50, more or less. And yeah, we more or less had that movement. I mean, we went even higher too, right? But so yeah, basically, as we got tighter and tighter, we had then kind of where the flag petered out. We flew to the upside. So this is, not the flag, the pennant. So this is a good example of a bull pennant. A bear pennant is the opposite. So you have a flag pull to the downside, and then you have, consolidation in and out and around, getting tighter and tighter until we break, usually to the downside from there.
Okay.
So that is, that's pennants.
You want to remind everybody about the measuring component of it?
Yes, so the measuring component, it's basically the same length of, I just added a line that I didn't add.
Just hit off that and then you can
Oh, there we
read
go.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like the same. It's basically going to be like the same. You have kind of to measure the strength of the breakout with like the strength of the flagpole, right? Here. So yeah, so I mean, you have like however long this pull is going to be, this candle to the upside. That's usually kind of how you measure when we break out. That's the extent to which we are going to break out. So with this, like I was kind of saying, right, you had like about $1.50 here, and that was, breakout was a bit less. It was about $1, but yeah, you can kind of use like, we had a really strong break into the pennant, so we also had a really strong break out of the pennant. I have a question too then.
For sure.
So, although I think this might actually be kind of answered by, but like, so if we kind of have a shorter flagpole, then would the breakout be smaller?
Yes, because that would necessarily make the measurement from the bottom of the flagpole to the top of the flagpole where basically we peaked on the pennant. That would make it a shorter distance or a shorter amount.
So it's really directly correlated then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And in this case, by the way, you can see that the breakout subsequent to the break of the pennant is much longer and much bigger. Come to the chart if you're able to, Ram. Much bigger. Brendan's like, come on, Ram. She's panicking over there. There we go. It's obviously a lot longer than the original pennant. So
Yeah.
that gives you the idea that this is just a general area of where to put a profit target.
Okay.
Right? It's not the maximum. It's not the minimum. It's one where you're looking for it in general. Again,
Okay.
it's not a science. It's an art. Right? Obviously, it's running a lot more here as ARM continues to run. Speaking of why ARM is running, it's up 9%, 9.1%. Here's the reason, in my humble opinion, why ARM is running. During the quarter, NVIDIA announced the GH200 GPU, which has more memory than its flagship H100, and an additional ARM processor on board.
Ooh.
NVIDIA now we knew that they were going to do this. We knew that AMD and NVIDIA were going to start using ARM processors in their GPUs, and here it is. The new one that's supposed to be stronger than the H100, the GH200, now has an ARM processor on board. I wasn't made aware of that until earnings. The H100, it goes on to say, is expensive and in demand. NVIDIA said Australia-based Iris Energy, an owner of Bitcoin mining data centers, was buying 248 H100s. Okay, so that's neither here nor there. This is the point I wanted to make, that I kind of feel that the reason ARM is pumping 9.5% right now, ARM is flying on the day, is because NVIDIA announced this GH200 GPU has an additional ARM processor on board there. So, you know, investors and traders or speculators making some, you know, educated guesses there about where that relationship could lead. I'm talking about ARM and NVIDIA, and possibly AMD if it wants to eat into some of NVIDIA's market share, which we know is about 90% of the GPU market. I don't think it stays that high, much in the same way that Tesla's market share has been eaten into, but it still remains the dominant EV player on the scene. I think that NVIDIA probably ends up something akin to that as well. Okay, so Adara covered the Pennant, and now we're going to go into Amazon because it's as close as of a bull flag that I can find today. Let's pull that bad boy. Where is it? ARM is a rocket. What is it doing? It's almost up 10% now.
Oh
it's
my.
at 10%. 6250 is going to break 10%.
Why?
Yeah, this is squeezing. It's squeezing big. Wow, ARM. Okay, AMZN. This is kind of what we're talking about with a flag. All right, let's get to the actual details here. Where are my notes? Damn it. Dang it, I mean. What happened to all my notes? Okay, just allow me a minute to get organized. There we go. Okay, so the bull flag. Very similar to a pennant, except you're not really looking for a compression pattern. What you're looking for is a sideways consolidation in a rectangle shape. The rectangle sometimes is tilted upwards, so you can have a series of higher highs and higher lows subsequent to a big move up. There's the pole. You see that there. It starts at around 143.50 on AMZN, and it tops out at 147.74 right there. So you have a big, about, you know, almost a $4 move, maybe a little bit more, $4.25 of a pull, all right? And then you have a sideways move. Now, it can be higher highs and higher lows, like an upwardly sloping rectangle. It can be lower highs and lower lows, so a downward sloping rectangle, or it can just be absolutely horizontal with, you know, no exact defined bottom and top, but a general sporadic area, okay? And it's the same thing as the pennant, okay? So you're looking for the break above the top of the pennant. In this case, is going to be that 147.74, and what you're looking for is the break of the top of the pennant supported by a good amount of outlying volume. It doesn't have to be the highest volume candle on the day. It doesn't have to, if you're trading it on the daily, doesn't have to be the highest volume candle on the daily, but it has to be above the mean. It has to be an outlier, okay? And then in the same way with the pennant, the way you're measuring the possibility of the move up is you're taking the entire length of the pole, all right? And then you're going to basically add it to the breakout area and say, okay, I guesstimate that this is going to be about $4.25 of a move,
Ooh,
right?
Yeah.
And whether or not it materializes, we have to wait and see. This could be nothing, right?
So that is the look there for the bull flag. And in the exact same way, it could be a bear flag. Just flip this 180 degrees down. So this would be a big move down, followed by a period of consolidation sideways, and then it would be a break of the lower end of the consolidation area on above average volume. So to summarize, it is a continuation pattern, right? It is not a reversal pattern like the head and shoulders, where when it materializes, we're looking for a trend reversal. No, this is very much a continuation of the current trend, okay? All right, let's take some questions now before we move on to head and shoulders pattern. Y Brothers, Sharif Adera, educating traders is great. Shout out to you, Y Brothers. That's why we're here, my man. And you know, anything that you want to ask us with respect to the content about what we're talking to, we'd be more than willing to oblige you. Air Trader Norms, how does chart pattern work? It only happens when the candles are done, so we assume that it's going to be a pattern before it's made? No. So there is a very good saying here on the floor that used to be said over and over and over by the day trading, by the floor manager. Participate, don't anticipate. Allow it to develop, right? And then take it on the break. You don't have to be first to the party. As long as you are able to get to the party and jam with your friends, that's all you really need, right?
Yeah.
Now, Adara asked a very good question. She's like, look, you know, on the head and shoulders pattern, I like to get it on the top because it gives me a better cost basis. Well, sure, absolutely. You're definitely going to have a better cost basis. But you also are going to subject yourself more to errors. You are more prone to create errors because you have not allowed the pattern to develop. So up until that time, you don't know if the pattern is going to actually manifest, and you're just kind of anticipating that it will, and we don't want to anticipate. John Del Segno, good Lord, STNE is absurd. Take a look at the chart today and weekly. Yes, my man, I will. Shout out to John. STNE. Stone Echo? I'm not familiar with this company. Huh. Good look, though. Nice. Yeah, that's a very bull flag-ish pattern. It could even, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this one, how it does. But this is exactly what we're looking for when we're looking for kind of like the bull flag-ish pattern. So this is the kind of the look here. This is the 5-minute. Let me look at the daily.
That's a good-looking one.
Yeah, it's not too bad, right?
Yeah, that's a nice, like, flagpole length there, too.
We have to, look, it doesn't mean that it's going to continue. We have to wait for it to happen. The top at that 1447 has to break for us to actually get into this trade. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it's going to actually manifest into the chart pattern that we think we see. Let's look at the daily because he was saying the daily looks good too. Well, this is the daily that I see, John, and I see a high here in January 2021 of 96.5 bucks, and now we're trading in the mid-teens. So the daily on the wider time frame, not so good, but you know, since May of last year, we've been making higher lows. So I guess there is some solace there. Decent higher lows, but very zigzaggy, John. Thanks for that, though. All right. Juan Padilla, all this is refreshing my mind. Thanks, guys. No, thank you, Juan, for hanging out with us today. And thank you for the nice comment. Moving down here, looking for some tags. There we go. Down. Un momento. Can you check out Big with Uber PR yesterday and the short interest? We'll get to that after because we're trying to stay on topic. FFTB, what is the best time frame to follow a solid head and shoulders pattern? And again, I'll say it again, these patterns are fractal, meaning that they are applicable on all time frames. However, one caveat to that statement is they are less prone to bamboozlement. Essentially, you are less prone to having the pattern turn against you the higher the time frame that you use. So for example, if you see a daily head and shoulders pattern, it is less likely to fail as a pattern than when you see it on the 1 minute. It doesn't mean that it's not applicable on the 1 minute. You just need to be cognizant of that. You need to be cognizant, I am trading on the 1. Hence, therefore, I see a pattern, and I have to account for the likelihood of failure. Look at ARM. It is up 10.25% now. It is absolutely flying, this guy. I'm sitting here talking. I'm not taking any trades, but what can I do? ARM is a rocket, guys. Whoever's taking this trade on the day, good on you. And it doesn't seem to stop now. 10 1/3.
That's
it looks
crazy.
like it's going to 10 1/2. And it's not even that much volume. 8 million shares. It's not that much. I don't know what the average volume for this stock is, but what a rocket ship ARM is on the day today. All right, moving down. Angela Fonseca. Oh, I remember Angela from a few days ago or last week. Hi, Sharif, Adira. I missed yesterday, but I listened later in the day. Didn't know about the PT or the PT with the Pennant. Thank you. Absolutely. The price target is one of the defining characteristics of a bull flag and a bull pennant. It gives you that, idea of where you should take profits. And the perfect example of leaving a piece for the dream is ARM. Because if you had charted the bull flag breakout, if you had charted the length of the breakout from the length of the bull flag from the breakout point on ARM, you would have taken out the entire piece there. But leave a piece for the dream. We always say that here on the floor in case it does continue to run. And in this case, it absolutely did. So shout out to Angela, and thank you for your comment there.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more question here before I send it back to you. Yeah, I'm also afraid of that resistance level. John says the STNE stock is a Buffett stock. I didn't know that was actually in Berkshire, but good luck there. Warren is an absolute print factory these days.
Yeah, Warren is on the ball. Never mind, I was reading today, apparently he donated a whole bunch of money for ahead of Thanksgiving.
It was like $1 billion.
Yeah, it was to all charities run by his kids, and then one in the name of one of his wives. Yeah.
We're going to hit the banks for Uncle Warren there. He's like one of the only people who's like made it really, really big and really hasn't gone off the rails a little bit.
No, and
Very
he's like,
calm,
so he even said today, he's like, yeah, I know I'm like kind of on borrowed time because I'm 93, but like I'm gonna keep going anyway. I'm like, you know what? Like live your life. Like Charlie Munger is still giving interviews at 99. Yeah, he's basically a hundo.
Isn't he a hundo?
I thought he was 99.
Next month, I think maybe.
Maybe next month he is a hundo.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout
when
out
is
to
Charlie Munger's birthday. January 1st. He's born on your birthday.
Oh my God, he and I have the same B-day. Look at that.
You're going to print like Charlie.
Hopefully.
He's just like 100 years older than you, but it's no big deal.
More or less. That's pretty funny though. Yeah, I'm sharing a birthday. I had no idea I shared my birthday with like a cool person. So.
Capricorn gang.
Oh yeah, that's true. Capricorn. I guess I wonder how many finance people are Capricorns. That'd be an interesting
My
study.
understanding of Capricorns are they're supposed to be wise and hardworking.
We're very stubborn as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We are very.
The goat thing.
Yeah, the goat thing.
Ah, I see. Okay.
But yeah, so interesting times. Yeah, I mean, I am currently. I want to talk about this short. I'm kind of in. I'm in this short. I should have probably taken profit around here. We're still kind of chopping though. Like I said, I have a plan. If we get above like 89, or sorry, like 2190, because that would be a more or less kind of a new high here, then I would probably be out. But we're down like 8% on the day. And why I got in here too is we were seeing a lot of kind of consolidation around here. And that big red candle to the downside. I was watching this one for a while, just waiting patiently for a point of entry. I'm probably going to be, leaving this soon. I don't want to stay in this too long, but we're like 3 cents out of the money, 3 to 5 cents. So I'm just going to kind of wait here. Yeah, because I mean, I was trying to get out. We didn't get out. It is what it is here on Guess. But the more we kind of get a little to the upside here, the more I'm kind of like, yeah, we're going to probably depart soon. That being said, I have no faith in the long on Guess because we're down 8% in the day. We are so like consolidative over here. Also, shout out to the Capricorn showing up in the chat. So I think that is cool as well. Let's see what else is happening over here with regards to, let's see if there was another, Amazon, let's see. I want to look at Amazon too, because Amazon was having, people were mentioning maybe a bear flag on Amazon over here too. Yeah, still kind of, still kind of figuring out not a bear flag, a bull flag, I apologize, on Amazon as well. So we're kind of waiting and seeing here. I wouldn't necessarily even say that this motion is over. And that's why I was asking Sharif earlier, out of curiosity, is there like a point at which we can kind of tell when the flag ends? Because honestly, like there is still a possibility for a breakout of Amazon. But yeah, definitely we did have that, you know, as we were mentioning earlier, Sharif was mentioning earlier, we did have that giant flag pull to the upside on Amazon. Now we're kind of chopping and turning around this point. If this does break out to the upside though, this could be beautiful. This could be a beautiful, beautiful long. But yeah, so mainly just trying to get out of my guess short for better or worse. Hopefully for better, but even if it's for worse, it would be like 3 cents to the downside for me.
Okay.
There.
Thanks for the comment. Derek B says, great show, listen every day. Does Tesla chart look like it could dip more? Well, we'll have a look at, because you had a nice comment there, so we're going to oblige. We're going to oblige. TSLA, let's have a look at Tesla. We're going to look at the 1 minute, and then we'll go to the 5 minute. Well, Tesla is in a steady state down.
Oh, yeah.
What you see is a series of lower highs here. With a possible bottom at that 231.5. We touched it earlier on around 11:30 or so. We did a little dip in around there. We held it on this attempt over here just a few minutes ago. Again, participate, don't anticipate, wait for something to materialize. What you're getting here is a lot of sideways noise and nothing really happening unless you really want to range trade this for $1 or $2, which is not an insignificant move. But what I'd say is wait a little bit, look for a breakdown for a pop back up. You have several levels with which to work on TSLA. Yesterday, you know me and how I chart my my charts, how I mark up my charts.
I like that.
No, come back, Reimer. Yeah. I look at the closing print at 241 and 1/5 there. That is yesterday's close, so that's the first level I'm looking at. And then I'm looking at VWAP, which is at that 235 level. And then I'm looking at the low of day. Let me go back into yesterday. Did we get to yesterday's low? No, we've broken through yesterday's low. So where are we? Okay, so lo and behold, we're on Mondays. We're at Monday's low. So this level, not from nowhere, we're at that general low of day on Monday, just about in that area. So yeah, that could be a possible support area here for TSLA. What I would say is I wouldn't take this north unless it broke above over here, around that 233 3/4, 234. That's just how I personally trade Tesla. At that time, I'm not even telling you that I would trade Tesla today, and I wouldn't. I tried to get short Tesla, and I wasn't able to punch in. It ran away from me. I complained to Adira right at the top of the show about that, but sucks to be me. All right, let's go down and take some more questions here. Please, Capricorn, you got a bunch of Capricorns.
Yeah, I
here
was
in the
shouting
chat.
out
Look
the
at this.
Capricorns in the chat.
Were you shutting them out when I was in the bathroom?
Yeah, I was
Okay,
like, oh,
okay.
shout out to the Capricorns. Yeah, it's go Caps. Go Caps.
James Dell says, 41-year-old grandpa over here. You and I both, brother. You and I both. Let's move down. Let's move down.
So did you see Ramin? I'm assuming this is Ramin in the chat. Help. I guess I really get back to the chart.
Ram. It's like you think she was kidnapped or something back there.
Yeah.
She's fine. She's doing her thing. She's jamming back there.
She's having a good time. I
need
hope.
a Ram chart thing t-shirt. I need it. I need one. All right, the one, head and shoulders on SPXL on the 1 minute chart, starting at around 1140-ish. Let's have a look at SPXL. SPXL, which is the, okay, 3 times bull. Starting around, what time? 1140? Right here on the 1 minute. Look, I'm gonna say no to that. I'm going to say no, only because I really see an upward channel. What I see here is a series of higher lows, right? And generally a bit of higher highs here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not exactly. I'm going to say, look, you may be right. I personally don't agree. This is not what I'd be looking for a head and shoulders, but I could be wrong. Moving down. What is this Google Drive nonsense that's loading here for no reason? All right, looking here. Yeah, you got a bunch of Capricorn gang.
Yeah, I also saw this comment that I like from Aaron Scott Matthews. Sharif is a charter, which is, honestly, I like a good pun. I like a good reference. Aaron, you have nailed it all in one. I saw that, I was like, I cannot not read this out loud. And it's also accurate. You know, we're talking about chart patterns this week. I guess you are a chart.
Yeah, I'm a chart charter. All right, Jack? I don't know how to say your name. J-A-C-A-K. Jasek. What other method is most commonly used in day trading apart from chart patterns? My friend, there is so much support and resistance, channels, you know, time and sales, level 2. You know, a lot of these, and you can use them together. They're not. You don't have to use them in isolation. If there's confluence between them, shout out to the Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think he left. Yeah, he went home. His desk is gone. He shut down his computer. If there's confluence between those different things, absolutely, even better. There's so much more to chart patterns there's so much more to day trading or even trading in general than chart patterns. You see Michael Noss talk about this candlestick patterns. I forgot about that. We're going to get into that later. Candlestick patterns is when you see a certain formation of candles back to back to back that denote or indicate some sort of outcome, whether bearish or bullish. We're going to get to that in subsequent weeks. So it definitely is not just chart patterns. Personally, I like to use certain strategies for certain instruments and other strategies for others. I made this point earlier about support and resistance for the futures.
Yeah.
Where I don't like using chart patterns for the futures. I like support and resistance and key levels. So many different ways. The way I would say to figure it out, not just listen to what I'm saying or what others tell you or these gurus, practice, and more practice. The more screen time you have, the more confident you're going to be in your entries because you're going to have all those hours of observation and trading under your belt. And that's really the only way here. And I talked about this last week. You know, I don't have data to support this, but anecdotally, I've been told year 5 and onwards is really when you really see a fundamental difference. Maybe you're gifted. Maybe, you know, your learning curve is a little shorter than that. But that my understanding is, you know, between year 5 and 7 is when you see the big difference. And that's a long time to commit. But look, when you go to school, you want to be a lawyer, that's at least, you know, a couple of years of undergrad if you're really smart, or 4 years of undergrad, and then you're doing at least 3 years of law school. So that's 7 years, you know. And
that's
then
crazy.
In Canada, you got an article. That's another year. So look, you know, you want to invest in this game, you got to look at it as look, I'm going to university or something akin to higher learning and devote that kind of same time to it. That's what I'd say there.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex Davis, can you spin the money for my arm short? I just called out 50 cents in the money. My man, you don't have to convince me to spin the money.
I know that was your favorite you said when you were watching live too. Yeah. You'd be like, oh, spin the money.
Yeah. Sean probably had enough of me. I'm surprised I didn't get blocked by Bears versus Bulls at the time. I was so annoying in the chat, right? Like, the Katina man is still short NVIDIA. People asking. 489.03, the Katina man is short. So anybody following along the Katina man's trade, be made aware of that. And again, I should probably mention this again very shortly. There will be a way for you guys to know what Neil is trading, what Sean is trading, what time they got in, what their price was, and you'll also be made aware of when they get out.
Oh, what time they got in too.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
From what I've seen, right, on
that's
Mark's
exciting.
screen. So there will be that, and you will be able to know that while we're yapping away here for 3 hours. You're going to be able to know that very, very soon. We wanted to have that for you guys at the beginning of the week, but better perfect than, you know, than first, right? Better done right. Angela, or Angel, sorry, I called her Angela by accident. Angel, Sharif, how do you determine which tool is better for each ticker? Just practice. No. Yes, practice, obviously, but what I would say is, remember when we talked about VWAP, right, and the importance of VWAP and how hedge funds use VWAP? Well, there are some stocks that don't give a you-know-what about VWAP on a certain day. They don't. And so what you're looking for is how is this particular instrument jiving? How is it dealing with this particular indicator? Is it really respecting VWAP? Or is it just going through it up and down and paying it no attention and no mind to it? What you want to see is the confluence, the respect of that instrument to that particular indicator before you really, you know, go hard into it. That's what I would say there. That's my personal opinion on that. Moving down. Say that again, Katina Man? The Katina Man covered some of his NVIDIA short at 488 on that dip. So wanted to update you on that. M. Mason, Sharif, and Adara, will you be teaching Friday? Yes, but we're only going to be on for an hour.
Yes, it will be a very short lesson, like when you have a half day at school because there's an assembly
Yep.
or something going on. Yeah, it will be a very shortened, shortened
you had
lesson.
that.
Yeah, I mean, we got to have an analogy. But yeah, there we go.
Okay, moving down in the questions list over here. JSEC, no problem, always happy to help, and keep the questions coming, please. There we go. Y Brothers, teach us market profile, TPO, please. Not on today. Today and for the rest of this week, we are just doing chart patterns. Every week will be a new subject or a new subject field. Last week, we talked about risk management and all the different subheadings that come under that, stop losses, trailing stops, support and resistance, etc. This week is chart patterns. Who knows what it'll be next week? You'll find out on Friday. Okay, JB, I've been watching this show every day for the last 3 years. I'm so confident in my trading now. Thank you all. No, you can thank the big kahunas because I've only been here for a year and a half. So, but shout out to you, JB. I was once where you were. I was on the other side of that screen and I was harassing these guys over here. And
You're always bragging about that.
right? Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Right, yeah.
I'm just
Crazy.
surprised Bears versus Bulls didn't block me. I gotta tell you the truth. Elon, Adara, Sharif, must have passion for day trading. I would have to agree. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's crazy because I kind of quite literally stumbled into day trading, but I really like it. I legitimately enjoy it. And I think I have so much respect for people who like, well, you know, I'm trading simulator, right? So it's a little bit different. So the people who legitimately like trade so well, it's like such a difficult thing to kind of adapt to. And I feel like it's taught me a lot. And you know, like I love it. I really do love it. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we also have people here who are hoping to learn as well, because I am obviously still very new and I am still learning. But yeah, the passion is real.
So ARM is reversing. So whoever called that ARM reversal, good on you. We got into that 65 level on ARM and look at that nice move down. Yeah, big boy move down on ARM right there. Yeah. Where do we find some support? We'll have to wait and see, but maybe around this 6150 to 6175 area. We'll have to wait and see. Fee rhymes with AMC. Sharif, do you ever look at these patterns following a moving average, i.e. a head and shoulders riding the 20 EMA or the 20 MA or something? I don't personally look for it, but I don't think it would hurt to have some confluence. So for example, if you had the neckline, let me bring in the picture of the head and shoulders so that we can follow a bit more closely. If you had the neckline right here on the head and shoulders pattern at the same area of a moving average, especially an important moving average, personally I use the 50 and the 200, it wouldn't hurt, especially if you had seen on previous occasions that it had held that moving average. What you're looking for to see with an indicator and an instrument is a level of respect being paid to that indicator by the instrument. Like the example I just gave with VWAP, is it blowing through it, top, up, down, below, or is it respecting it, bouncing off it, showing that no, this is a level of support or this is a level of resistance. So look for the respect by the instrument on the indicator before really relying too heavily on it. And it's not just a one-off rule. It could respect it on Monday and pay no mind to it on Tuesday. You need to look at whatever time frame you're trading in, okay? You need to be trading with that in mind, okay? So to recap, I would not mind whatsoever if the neckline had some confluence or there was some convergence between an important moving average and the neckline on head and shoulders pattern. Absolutely, I think it would give it a bit more weight. But again, what I would say is look for the confirmation in volume. That break of the neckline, whether an inverse head and shoulders or an actual head and shoulders, you're looking for confirmation through volume there. So shout out to you. The Katina man doesn't want to cover the NVIDIA. He wants it to print. He's a couple of bucks in the money right now as it comes down and breaks VWAP again. That's the thing. He said that's the problem. It's at VWAP. So look, when the Katina man covers, I will update you guys on that. But right now, he's short in the high 480s. 489.09, the Katina man is short.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And George DeMarco, I think he's with you there. He says bye-bye NVIDIA. So we'll have. Or George, where are you going to cover, brother? Tag the Katina man. He's in the chat right now. He'll answer you. All right. J-Dog, inverse head and shoulders on the 4-hour for AMC. Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look.
AMC.
Yeah.
We've not talked about AMC in a while.
Right?
And I feel like I was like talking about this one like every day in October or something. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, it's up on the day.
Where are you seeing the reverse head and shoulders, my man? This is the 4-hour look right here. This is the 4-hour on AMC. I personally don't see a head and shoulders. And definitely an inverse head and shoulders as you pause it. Perhaps maybe explain to me what you're looking at a little bit. Give me some time frames, some price levels, so I can kind of look along with you there. But it's all good. Make sure to tag me, by the way, J-Dog. Otherwise, I'm unlikely to see it. All right, Hamptons Trader. Shout out Hamptons. I have been ready trading in the reading. Sorry, he says ready, but I think he meant reading, obviously. Trading in the zone and watching Matt Douglas' video. Great stuff, dude. You will not be disappointed. Watch and read as much as you can. The more information and the more opinions and perspectives you have, the better it's going to be. And you're going to be able to formulate your own, modus operandi after that. You're not, like Sean and Neil always say, trade your own dang book, right? You're going to want to do that. You're not going to want to copy anybody's style, but you're going to be influenced by their thinking, influenced by their experiences and their thought. The more you know, the better. Shout out to you. You want to take over for a little bit?
I was going to say, I think it's interesting too, just the extent to which, certain stocks will interact with different levels or different indicators and others won't. And it's interesting to think about the confluence, shout out to Obi, that we do have kind of some time between these levels and these areas of importance, right? And also, I want to look at NVIDIA as an example of this because, this one, A, crazy on the day, and B, Sean's in the short, so shout out here too, because we have like that move off of VWAP was beautiful, right? And not all stocks, as we were saying, will necessarily interact with VWAP. But honestly, basically after that gorgeous drop off of open, NVIDIA are gorgeous or not gorgeous, depending on, it's technically interesting to look at. But yeah, we had that movement down here. Then we sort of had kind of some compression, almost a bit of an ascending triangle, not super, super clear here. Then we kind of went to the upside, and then we interacted with VWAP again, flew right back down from that point, right? So different, and like earlier in the day, VWAP was not really going to be an issue. Pre-market, it definitely was an area of interest, and it also was later in the day too, right? So it's interesting to think that not all stocks will interact with all levels in the same way, or at the same day, or at the same time. So it's just interesting how different indicators can have different value, provide different value, depending on the day and kind of how you're trading them as well, right? If anyone else kind of sees any other type of a area of interest, any other head and shoulders or patterns here, pennants, flags, would love to chat about them. I also will provide an update for the guest short. I guess this is still happening. That was a terrible pun. I apologize. But yeah, my plan is if we break 21.9, I'm out. If we don't, I'm in. And honestly, like this, it honestly does not really want to break this level. Maybe the chop and churn is like, oh, eventually we will break it. It'll be crazy once we break. I am less than 10 cents out of the money. And we have been consolidating here for so long. At this point, I'm going to wait it out. Manuel Palma in the chat. Amazon seems to be respecting the flag. Well, thank you. Let's take a look here.
It did a nice little bounce off VWAP. So
yeah, this is another one. This one has VWAP, and you have a bull flag at VWAP. Mm-hmm. So maybe because you were saying like head and shoulders, if we have the neckline at VWAP or at an important level, sometimes that can be of interest. Yeah, is that the same with something like a bull flag here at VWAP?
You know what? I actually don't know the answer to that question. I got to tell you the truth. In the context of a bull flag and a bull pennant or whatever. A flag or a pennant, whether bearish or bullish. In this particular case, it's nice that it's holding VWAP, though. It's showing a level of respect for the level.
Massive respect, yeah.
So it's an interesting look. I don't have the answer to that question, though, sadly. We'll have to wait and see how that develops. Sharif. QQQ lost the 200 for the first time in a day. Okay. Well, that's okay. But look, I got to tell you, I don't trade the Qs. My charting on the futures is exclusively on the NQ and the ES. Those are the levels that I look at. I find them to be less retail, more institutional. You have to understand the futures
are more of an institutional instrument for them to hedge. So if they take a short position, let's say on a Mag 7 stock, right? Let's say they take a short position on Apple for whatever reason. They're going to want to hedge that by taking a long on the NQ, okay? So I'm more interested in what big money is doing as opposed to what retail is doing. And I posit that the Qs and the SPY are more retail oriented than they are institutionally oriented. So to me, I'm, again, just to reiterate, more interested in the ES contract, in the NQ contract, in the Russell contract, the RTY, than I am, say, the IWM or the Qs or the SPY. That's just my personal opinion and kind of how I see things. You may have a different view, and I respect that. But how tall is Ram Ram? How tall are you, Ram Ram? I'd say 5'1", 5'2".
6'1", Fabian Slay, how dare you?
6'1". Why is that even a question? Ram Ram, put the camera on you guys. Come on, bro. Ram Ram. My God.
I love the 6'1". I love that.
Right?
That's great.
All right. You want to cover head and shoulders?
Let's cover head and shoulders and maybe knees and toes if we have time. No, I'm joking.
She's a tall girl. No, she's not. Please, trust me, she's not.
But yeah, so let me get to the head and shoulders notes on this that I have. Did I close these? No, I did not. Here they are.
Yeah.
Head and shoulders. Okay. So basically, yeah. So it is. This occurs when you have like a lower high, a shoulder, then you have a higher high, and then you have another lower high. I'm gonna find a visual example.
Here, I can pull one up for you.
Thank you.
No
Appreciate
problem.
that. Yeah, because I have my notes.
Come to my screen while Adara talks.
Yeah, I think this is still like a really good example. I was trying to find a better one, but yeah, if anyone sees a live in the flesh, a real-time situation with the head and shoulders, I would love that. So we have a shoulder. You have like kind of a higher point. Then you have I guess in this case, it's a higher low. Then you have, I said it right, I'm so proud. Then we have a higher high, and then we have the same low. We have that same trend line, the neckline, if you will, which is a new aspect of this that I learned that I think is really cool. And then you have the shoulder, which is going to match where we had that other lower high. So they should be more or less symmetrical, but it doesn't have to match. The other thing too is you can have a shoulder that is slightly higher on one side or slightly lower on the other, but they generally should have around the same trend line. And the other thing that I learned today that is really cool, that is you were saying if the trough in between the head and the second shoulder more bullish, and if it's higher, it's a bit more bearish.
Yeah, there is like a data set talking about the difference in the neckline from the left shoulder and the right shoulder and what the imbalance of those actually means. I'm going to get you guys that information shortly, but there is a difference between there. Somebody wants to know, or he thinks you're 5'7". I think you're 5'7", 5'8".
I think I'm around 5'8", 5'8 and a half.
You're pretty tall. Yeah. Adara's pretty tall. So I don't know why Deez is really interested in everybody's height around here, but that's fine.
But the heights of the shoulders, to do a segue, don't have to be exactly the same, but they are going to be shorter than the head, and they're going to be roughly the same, and our trend line is also going to be roughly the same. But like with all patterns, he's flexing.
Katina man is like, yo, bro. Everybody else wants to know. Yeah. The Katina man be flexing, baby. No, we're kidding, of course. Guys, 4 takeaways that you need to know about the head and shoulders, okay? A head and shoulders pattern is a technical indicator with a chart pattern of 3 peaks. 1, 2, 3, okay? The outer 2 are close in height and the middle is the highest. Very clear here. So that's what you're looking for. A head and shoulders pattern, considered one of the most reliable trend reversal patterns, is a chart formation that predicts a bullish to bearish trend reversal. So this pattern typically happens in a bullish trend, meaning that the bullish trend is coming to an end, hence it is a reversal pattern. Third, an inverse head and shoulders is the exact opposite. It is a pattern that predicts a bearish to bullish trend. It's the exact opposite of this. Flip it upside down, and that's what it is. And last, the neckline rests at the support or resistance lines depending on the pattern direction, okay? So in this case, it's a support line. If it was an inverse head and shoulders, it would be the resistance line. And what you're looking for is a break of this neckline here. And this neckline, I should say, doesn't always have to be perfectly horizontal. It can be diagonal, depending upon whether the neckline at the left shoulder is equidistant to the neckline at the right shoulder, okay? And that's what you're looking for there. And a break of that neckline is the confirmation that the pattern has occurred. And what you're looking for on the break of the neckline is above average volume to confirm that the trend is taking place. It's not a foolproof thing. I have to keep saying this, right? It's an art, not a science. And so what you're looking for to kind of confirm that the neckline is actually breaking down is above average volume, Adara.
Yes.
That is the head and shoulders. So we can take a little bit of a break now at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm trying to find one in the wild because people are
In
saying.
the wild, I love it.
Someone is saying Tesla 10-minute head and shoulders, maybe wider term, but I still cannot. I'm trying to find that. Also, someone mentioned the NASDAQ. Oh, ARM. ARM has a head and shoulders, apparently. Inverse head and shoulders, okay.
ARM?
Yeah, apparently an inverse head and shoulders. It doesn't say what time frame.
I'll have a look, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Also, someone was saying the NASDAQ 100 on the 1 minute, but I'm not sure the ticker of that one.
Oh, the NASDAQ one. It's what is the ticker for the NASDAQ 100, guys? It's just the Q. No, but isn't that the entire NASDAQ? Okay.
Is the Qs?
It's just the Qs, right? Okay.
Thank you. Triple Q. Okay. Let me see on the 1 minute.
I don't see anything here on ARM. No, this is not a head and shoulders pattern on ARM here, no.
I think there people were saying reverse, but I still could not see it. Yeah, I can't really see the head and the shoulders on the Qs either in the 1 minute. But yeah, if any specificity, I'm interested. Yeah, but I cannot really tell. What is
I see
happening
what
here.
they're saying. So on the daily, yeah,
okay.
this isn't it either, guys. I mean, like, we really need some defined levels. There's way too much noise here. You know, this was kind of just a consolidative top at around 56. Look, it could be. I just don't see it personally. So
Seems like a very elusive pattern to find in the wild compared to some of these other ones. WTI head and shoulders on the daily. We'll see if it, but I really want to be able to show everybody one in the wild here today because I find it's also easier to see a pattern. Like there's one thing looking back and seeing a pattern, but I think it's interesting because this is the 1 minute. Let me find the daily. Head and shoulders. I'm still not really seeing it, I have to say. This one, maybe if I go back. Yeah. Unfortunately, I cannot really see the defined head or the shoulders. And sometimes they do exist. Like I've been in times, like I said, when I first started trading and I was exclusively going long. And then you would kind of, like I would basically, when I saw the trough of the second shoulder or the first shoulder, I would get in and I'd be like, oh, and then it would kind of go to the downside. Or I'd get in on the second shoulder, not realizing that we were going to go lower and then have that perfect symmetry. And then it was head and shoulders and I'd get swept up in the realness. So, that is unfortunate. Also, someone's asking, what are MRAI and GES? I did not realize you were in MRAI.
yeah,
So
I'm
that
going
is
to talk
cool.
about that in a second.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I mean, I can talk about GES, and there's no news. There's no news on guess. I guess we are sitting here. That was a terrible pun. I'm so sorry. But this one, we were moving on earnings. It's interesting because we're up quite a bit since open, and yet we're still down 8% on the day. Part of why I went short, I'm like, we can clearly go further. And I initially kind of wanted to get out when I was noticing this movement upward, but honestly, our inability to break decisively above 2180 is kind of laughable. So I'm going to stay in this for the long term, not the long term, for now. For now, that's what I will say. And we'll see how this one turns out. No guesswork here. I need to stop. How is MRAI?
Okay, so MRAI is a small cap gapper. Here is the news on it. Do we have, this one's called Marapai. I'm just making sure that, is this a runner from yesterday? Allow me a minute here. It didn't really move that much yesterday. No. This one started moving in the aftermarket, so maybe I need to look in the aftermarket. Yeah, there it is. Maybe insider buying from yesterday. Marapai form shows an individual by Aitin Yarun bought 100,000 shares. That's not really it. The company's fundamentals. I'm just looking for the catalyst on this name. No. Might be a sympathy play. I'm not seeing anything actually, but in any event, it's up big on the day. It's up. Oh, it was over 90%, even over 100%. It's since retraced off that 346 high, I want to say, but it's holding VWAP ever so nicely. It's obviously got resistance at 3. I got in near VWAP there at 282. I have a dip trade. Sorry, not at VWAP, a little bit above VWAP. I have a dip trade at 265, looking to defend that VWAP level. There has been obviously respect for the VWAP level by this name, but again, these small cap gappers, they don't, they don't tend to respect the levels in the same way as some of these big cappers do. They are more volatile. They are more prone to manipulation, especially if you have big money and a big account. You can basically take out multiple levels at the same time, force it up, then push it back down. So yeah, there is some risk obviously on here. I printed already on a nice move up through that 90. I'm looking possibly to get in again at 265. The float on this one, 4.8 million share float. I don't have the short float. Give me an opportunity here to load up trade ideas, and I'll tell you the short float real quick on this bad boy. Any day. There we go. It's loading. Good, good, good. So let's look at MRAI short float on trade ideas here. Let's bring it down. Shout out to the NOS boss and his boys over there at Trade Ideas. Yeah, MRAI. So a negligible short float, not really, about 4.15%. Nothing really to get me excited, but nothing too big either. So MRAI, long on this name, looking for the hold of VWAP. The end of the trade will be the break of this level over here. So I'm going to give it to around that 255 level. I want to see it respect the general area of VWAP. Now, if it breaks it by a couple of shekels to the south side, then I'll give it some room. But otherwise, it's got to hold that general VWAP area. All right, somebody had a question over here. I believe it was Angel again, something to do with volume. Let me go back up and try to find it. Did I pass it? I think I might have passed it. Oh. All right, yeah, I think I passed that. Angel, if you want to put your question again in the chat, because I think I might have lost it up here. You had a question with respect to volume, and I didn't get to answer it. All right, Hampton's Trader, nice abs, bro. Just saw your Insta post. Thanks, man. Well, hey, man. If you don't take the videos, then might as well, if you're not going to post them, don't take the videos then, right? What am I going to do?
First, I thought you were going to say, if you don't take the videos, why are you working out? And then I was confused. When you're like, if you're not going to post, then I'm like, okay.
No.
Okay, because I was getting a little bit confused there. I was like, that's a very strange thesis. Yeah, that makes more sense, though.
Kevin Johnson, there is a head and shoulders on the NG, Nat Gas Daily. Sorry, I know you have a trade in. Yeah, the story of my life. Let's have a look. You said on the daily? I got to tell you, what I was seeing on the daily on Nat Gas was a hold of 6 and higher lows, but that has since broke. So you may be right on that. Let's have a look at Nat Gas, head and shoulders, possibly here on the future. Let's go to the December contract. I typically chart off the continuous contract so that I don't have interruptions in the price action. See, I don't see a head and shoulders here. This is just some peaks, but there's no general head and shoulders moving in a little bit. No, we had a general area over here of support around that 3 3¾ general area, and then that kind of gave up the ghost. We gave up the ghost in September a little bit. Let me go to the continuous contract because we have lighter volume here. Oops, I typed in NG. There we go. And go to the futures and then go continuous contract. All right, just a moment, let this bad boy load. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about here. There was this area that really had me interested. This hold of that 330 area on the continuous. But we've given up the ghost on that, right? And now we're looking at this area as a possible area of support, this 294-ish area. We have a bit of a reversal candle, a doji candle happening here. That would just be aces if we can get back out. Maybe I can get myself out of this trade once and for good. I don't know, man. I think I want to hold this into the winter. I was talking to the Katina man about this trade earlier in the morning. And yeah, if I wasn't up on the other ones, I'd be really upset. And I'd probably be punching out of this one. But the other ones are keeping this bad boy afloat. But anyway, Nat Gas. It dipped below 3, now it's above 3, so it looks like 3 is acting as a resistance level for now on UNG, NG, sorry, not UNG. We'll have to wait and see when we get there.
I have another question too. So I guess is the sharper, like I guess the more defined the head and shoulders are, the like I guess maybe the more powerful it will be.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
That I don't know. It's just easier to spot.
Oh.
For me, you know, if there is going to be all these convoluted peaks and valleys on one side, and then
they're harder to find. Okay,
right? And
that's
so
a good point.
That's my issue with that. So I need, I need some definition.
Thank you. Also, yeah, there was a question that I liked here from Dale, which shout out to AMC in the chat for kind of answering this partially as well. Is a pennant the same as a triangle? AMC says, I think what's different is pennants have a pull. I think that's part of it, but I think the other thing too that I learned that is interesting between a pennant and a flag, if I remember correctly, is the pennants have a bit more compression. Right? Is
Absolutely.
I believe what is happening.
Yeah.
So this Amazon pennant is just gorgeous. We're seeing, you know, very kind of getting compressed in here, and this we do have this flag here as well. And the other thing with pennants too is the big thing I learned today is how you can use the pull measurement to measure the breakout. So learning in real time over here. So about 143.50 to 147.50, more or less $4 breakout. If we break out at this pull, that's not necessarily the guaranteed move, mind you, but that kind of gives you a sense of when you see this pattern, when you see, you know, the tight compression, if you decide to get in on this, you can kind of, you know, predict potentially, oh, let's say like we break out at like 147, not saying that is where it will happen, but let's say that's where we break out. Then you're like, oh, okay, I have, you know, maybe until like I almost said 190, that would be a very big move for Amazon, 151 to get out. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that measurement, that situation. Also, Roberto, hello, Adara. What kind of chart, hello, Roberto. What kind of chart pattern is on the GES position you were in now? This was less a chart pattern and more just general, good old consolidation. We were really very much consolidating around here. I had this one up very early on. I was just waiting. I was just sitting there waiting like a little shark at the surface of the water trying to get in. And I stayed in. Thank you. And I stayed in this because the more resistance I saw, the more I was like, we don't want to get above that.
Okay.
So yeah, if we do not break 2190, and we've tried many times since I've been in the position, and it has not happened, then I will remain in this short for the time being. I'm trying to practice having less scalpy positions because I do love the scalps, to be fair. I like the range plays, I like the scalps. But I think it's good practice too for me to just kind of trust the momentum of a movement and just try to get in and join the party, as you said.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jonathan R. comes in with the joke of the day. Sharif, are you body shaming the patterns? Not all of us have well-defined shoulders. Like, you're hilarious, bro. I mean, like that's got to be the joke of the day right there. Shout out to Jonathan R. Ram likes that joke.
I love the pun of that too. It's just perfect.
Right? Yeah. Jonathan R. Coming in with the hot lines there, baby. All right.
That was
Elon. Elon. Oh, Mortaza. Is there a head and shoulders on the 1 hour on Amazon? Let's have a look at that. Let me bring in the trusty. There we go. Chart.
Right, she was on top of that.
Yeah, she was quick with that too. Let me bring in the trustee, and then she finished my sentence there. All right. No, we don't have a head and shoulders here. What we do have is a consolidative pattern with peaks and valleys. You need to have, you know, a very clearly defined left shoulder, right shoulder, and head. If you're going to have this, you know, sporadic price action, which is what I see here on the 1 hour, I personally wouldn't call this a head and shoulders. In fact, what I do see here is a decided uptrend. Look at the connection of the higher lows. You have consistently, here's the low. Let's start back on, what was that, November 2nd. We got to the low of 136. We make another trough right there between November 9th and 10th at that 139 pattern. We hold that, we hold it very well on that day on November 16th, right? But look where the closing print is. It's above that 141. And again, over here on November 21st, where we make that 142 low. So what I see here is an upward channel on AMZN. I don't see a head and shoulders there. My contact lenses are messed up, man.
Oh no, me too.
Yeah, it could be
it's
dry as
sometimes
well.
when I'm on like the green screen, I'm like trying to like, cause you know I'm trying to like see stuff, and the contact lens life. What a time.
Contact lens life, exactly. All right, Elon, Adara, Sharif. On Coin Daily, a bear flag from July to October, but it reverses up since the end of October. How to do better on spotting, identifying significant trend change. Practice, 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 my friend. The more you see, the more you're going to feel comfortable making assessments as to chart patterns and key areas of trend reversals. But I want to digress for a minute here because we're getting to a critical level on the NQ again. Okay, here we are. We're retracing back into 16.1. Keep an eye out at this level. We've rejected off this level 3 times, and what I see now is an ascending wedge. Look at the higher lows. You don't have to be a super charter to see these higher lows here. All the while there's a flat top hanging out at 16.1. Okay, so this could be a very interesting pattern here if we're able to break and hold above 16.1. Now, I don't typically like to use these chart patterns on the future, but what it does do is it really points my attention to that 16.1 flat top break. This has been a very obvious resistance level from the opening, after the IB high, when we broke it at around 950 or so, when we huadunked on this Christmas tree retracement over here. Yeah, so what I'm looking for is a break above 16.1. We want to break above 16.1, and we want to see how it trades. Does it get above 16.1, and then the candle comes back down and we close south to 16.1, or do we clear 16.1 by a nice margin and then come back into 16.1 and bounce back up? That's what I'm looking for here. And I'm not going to jump into this trade. I don't want to guess whether or not we're going to break 16.1, but obviously here we're seeing buyers overwhelm sellers incrementally. We had this low over here of 16.016 on this trough, and then the subsequent trough, we had another low of 16.027, but the closing prints are around 16.0 1/3. And then look at this trough over here when we just barely broke through VWAP at 16.060 or 59, whatever. All the while, we've had that very clear defined top at 16.1. Very interesting trade possibly here on the futures on the NQ. If we can get above there, I'm looking, definitely keeping my eye on that. And Angel, that Amazon is a pennant, not a flag. How? Because the candles are shorter in compression, or because there is an angle only on the top? Look, I don't want you to worry too much about what the difference between a pennant and a flag, because essentially, I don't want to say they're the same thing, but the eventuality is the same, which is you're getting that continuation through that clearly defined top. So don't worry too much about whether it's a flag or whether it's a pennant. The point is to have a very clearly defined, a very clear understanding of where that defined top is, charting from that top, and then waiting for a break of that top on above average volume and looking for that continuation. So that's what I really want to stress about the flag and the pennant, because they're very similar. It's like cousins almost, okay? So shout out to Angel on that. Thank you for that question, Angel.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving down here, Hampton's Trader, Apple just rejected VWAP. Yeah, and we just rejected the dead one. We just rejected VWAP, not VWAP, 16.1 again. Look at us retrace 20 points off. So now what we're going to be looking for here on the NQ is, do we make a lower low? So far we haven't. We've made incrementally higher lows. I'm going to be looking for a low. If we make a low, I'm going to be looking for the low to maintain itself above that 16.060 or 16.059, 57, that general area. What I don't want to see is a newer low lower than this low over here, okay? Yeah. So that is my look on that. The Katina Man is long Apple, by the way, so anybody following along from the open. Okay, so that's from the open. He's still holding whatever he had from the open. All right. So
also, shout out to Darwin in the chat with the Santa emoji, ho, ho, ho. I love it. Well, I have nothing else to say about that. 'Tis the season indeed. Yeah, no comment on that other than I like it. And you know I'm always going to read out the emojis as I am wont to do. Yeah, so people are mentioning NVIDIA at a key level. Yeah, this is still my guess, short. I guess we're still in this. NVIDIA is, NVIDIA kind of making a higher high here. I was watching to see what we were doing at 489. If we didn't do 489, I was like, maybe we'll go short. We broke above 489. We're at 490 now. no, I'm not touching this stock today. I haven't traded NVIDIA in actually a couple days, which is, I feel like I sound like I'm like, going to like NVIDIA Anonymous or something. It's been a couple days since I've traded it. Yeah, not touched this one in a while. We do have a bit of an upward channel here, which is, pointing that one out there. And this is a chart pattern from yesterday, but very much, I would say, in play with NVIDIA. Almost getting, maybe a little bit compressed too. But yeah, mostly looks like an upward channel. Lots of touches to those top and bottom trend lines. One to keep an eye out for. Yeah.
All right, you want to start back with the pennant? I'll take the flag this time.
Yeah, let's do the pennant. So basically the pennant is when, I'm just clearing the lines off this chart. Pennant. So I'm going to pull up Amazon again. Sorry for using this example, but it seems to be one of the cleanest ones of the day. And it's still working. Amazon, we had that pennant here. Started at like, 143.5. We got up to 147.5. That's the pull, okay? The pull is a $4. This is like a $4 long price range here, right? So you look at this, and then now you're going to look at, we've kind of formed this pennant. So now, in terms of why this $4 range is important, is because that's where you can kind of chart the breakout, right? Once we break out, you could say more or less, you could maybe have the potential for $4. That's good for profit taking. You know what I mean? You might want to set your profit at that point. Now, that's not to say, because patterns are not perfect, the market is very much infallible. It's not going to say it will necessarily work out like that. However, it is an interesting, thing to keep in mind in terms of profit taking, right? Patterns exist for a reason, something to keep a note of. So if it breaks out of this, this Amazon pattern could be very interesting. Now, what makes it a pennant also is the compression, is how we're getting, tighter and tighter here within this range. The other things too with the pennants is basically they're formed usually after strong upward or downward moves where traders pause, kind of take a breather, and the price will consolidate and then continue in the same direction. So now, what is a bull flag? This is not a perfect example, but NVIDIA was, I guess, sort of doing something resembling that earlier. And I really only bring this up because we did have the flagpole kind of area here, but we continued to the upside after instead of to the downside. So that doesn't really count. But the initial kind of movement down here and then consolidation is interesting. With regards to that. So that is a bull pennant. This could have been a bear pennant, but we actually did have a bull pennant on Amazon. Yeah, and if this one breaks out of the pattern, people in the chat, let us know, because I am very invested in this. Honestly, this consolidation that's been going on since open. We've been trading the range since open here, like, a couple cents here, couple cents there. This will definitely be a pattern to watch, be a stock to watch, and I think it shows here too. I'm happy we had this pennant on this day, because it shows how these ones can kind of move. So there we go. I know ARM earlier as well was another one that kind of broke out from that type of pattern. Yeah, so we had, this is I guess more of a flag here, but we did have that kind of compression, the flagpole, then the compression, and then we had the move back upwards here. It was a little bit shorter than we had like about roughly $1 and a bit here. And we didn't get quite the breakout off of that initial move up that we got here, but I mean, we continued to move higher, so definitely still a breakout of a pennant. Just, yeah, looking at ARM and Amazon as examples of pennants here today. Those are both bull pennants, but yeah, here we are. That is also, we're partially out of the guess, just an update on the guess short. We have a part fill on the out here. Yes, I realize it didn't get out that far, but yeah, I mean, we didn't get that much, but it is what it is. I was kind of worried we were getting into like a flag formation here, and I decided I was going to leave. You had a hot mic?
Yes, and I was singing back there.
What were you singing? That's what matters.
Today, man, everybody's making fun of me. I'm sitting there singing Nelly Furtado too.
You're still singing that song?
Of course I'm still singing it. It's in my head. Neil's shaking his head. Oh, man, guys, anybody, there's a backstory to this, right? I went to the gym yesterday, I forgot my headphones, and they kept putting on that Nelly Furtado song, Do It Like You Do It to Me, da-na-na-na. And so it's been stuck in my head. What can I do, man? And it's just been, yeah, yeah, it has. It's the truth.
Apparently you were whistling too. Everyone is calling you out. You do not get to breathe.
Yeah, Ram did me dirty again, man. I should have muted my mic. That was my mistake. Whatever, all
funny.
Good. Bitcoin apparently is moving up big there. It just took 37,000 again, guys. So be aware, 37,000 on BTC just got breached again. We'll have a look here real quick. on the 5-minute look on BTC. Big move up there on Bitcoin. Not really seeing a related headline for it right now, but we know that there was obviously Binance news yesterday. CZ, who is the head of Binance, has pled guilty to money laundering charges in the United States. As a result, he's going to personally pay a fine, a hefty one. I think it was like 40 some odd million. Binance, the company, is going to pay $4.3 billion fine in that regard. So, you know, lot's been made about that. You may have feelings one way or another about that, but that's been the look there. Okay. I'm seeing news coming in. Diaz29 saying something. I'm not going to repeat it just in case it's inaccurate, but I'll have a look. Thank you for that, Diaz. But yeah, to finish off what I was saying about Binance, there was some issue about how he was moving around money. In any event, let's keep an eye on BTC to see what it's doing. It's just reclaimed 37,000 now up 0.25%. All right, next on the list is the flag. So let's have a look here at AMZN because it's been really the only one that I could find.
I was kind of using that as a pennant, but I think maybe it is a flag more too.
ARM was the pennant.
Oh, right. Sorry, guys.
It's all good.
That is.
Yeah, no worries. The flag on Amazon, it looks like it may not really materialize here. I think it may materialize, though, if we get a nice move through 16.1 and pump. But we are obviously having a lot of trouble at 16.1, but we're putting in a series of higher lows, no question about it, on 16.1. So I'm going to keep my eye on this potential bull flag on Amazon to see if it manifests after we retake that 16.1 level that we've been obviously having issues with the entire morning and the entire show. So the rules for the bull flag are very similar, if not the same, as the pennant, the only difference being usually the price trends in a rectangular fashion. It can be uptrending, where you can have a series of higher highs and higher lows. Not that aggressive of an angle, though. You can have it completely horizontal, or it can even be downward sloping. What you're looking for there is to find the trend, whatever the trend is, to draw the trend lines. Like in this case, it would be horizontal, okay? It would be very horizontal in general, give or take, maybe the bottom a little bit less horizontal. And then you're looking for the break of this upper trend line here, and you're looking for the break of it on higher volume. It has to be a standout over here. So you have to compare it to some of these volume bars over here. You want to use RVol on, you can't use RVol on candle basis, I don't think. So what you're looking for is the confirmation indicator of higher volume through the break of that obvious top. And then what you can do is you can measure this entire move and then guesstimate how far you'll move through this top based on how big this move was, okay? And the better example I want to say is ARM. Let's go to ARM, and that's it right there. You had the bull, the big move, and then you had the compression pattern, AKA the pennant, and then you had a bigger break. Look at that, on above average volume. See this candle over here? That stands out from the rest, right? And we moved up and we broke through that resistance level on above average volume, and then we continued to trend higher and even made bigger gains than I would have predicted based upon the measuring tool.
So that was the pennant. Okay.
That's the pennant.
Thank you. Yeah, I think they're really close, so I got a little bit confused there.
I'm going to have to look into this business.
Rainbow Bridge, yeah.
CP24.com. Let's find out what's going on.
CP24?
Yeah, Rainbow Bridge crossing border closed after incident on U.S. side, say officials. We don't know what the incident is. Apparently there's been some sort of explosion at the Rainbow crossing, which I believe is Niagara Falls. The Katina man is confirming that now. He's saying that there was some sort of explosion at Niagara Falls border crossing. Yeah, it's not really relevant, Ram, but like, you know how I get excited here. What is this? Oh, Ram sent me something. I thought she was trying to tell me to stay on topic. Yeah, I know. It's like, geez. Hold on, Ram sent me something, so I'm going to load that up here real quick. If this thing will load, there we go. I don't know how relevant this is, she says. 6 buzz. She's sending me 6 buzz stuff. Bro, I can't put 6 buzz on the show. Yeah, there is an explosion here. I'm seeing some stuff there. That's not a good look. That's not what we want to see at all. I really hope this is not a terrorist attack, but no. Did you see this picture? Did you see it? I'll send it to you right now. I'll send it to you. Yeah, Katina, man. Yeah, well, it looks like a bit. Here, have a look at that. Okay, in any event, we can't really harp on that too much because we're a day trading show. So, yeah, head and shoulders.
Head and shoulders.
Knees and toes.
I was going to say, yeah, maybe knees and toes if we have time too. But, no, all jokes. Head and shoulders. Here is, I've got this pulled up here. So basically, yeah, it tries to predict, we're going to look at like a bull to bear market reversal. And then if it's an inverse head and shoulders, it would be bear to bull. So, you have basically, and again, I feel like it's really hard to find a real one in the wild today because we've been having a moment. But if anyone does see one, obviously let us know. So we have, this would be the first shoulder. Then we have a bit of a trough. And then it kind of ends up on this neckline here, right? Where the trough is, that's where the neckline forms. Then we have a head. So that's going to be higher than that first high. Then we have a lower high, but the low is going to be almost the same as the neckline. And then from there, we fall off to the downside. Once we break below that neckline, that is when you definitively have your head and shoulders. Now, like I was saying earlier, I used to have this thing where I would get long on the dip before I saw the full, confirmation of the trough because I'd be, we're going higher. So I would say if you have something where it looks like it could be, a type of situation where, you're seeing like that kind of head and shoulders type pattern, my advice is to wait and see if it really materializes before hopping in on a short or a long because, yeah, you don't know. And that was the biggest issue that I kind of ran into when I first began trading the head
You want me to put
and
the
shoulder
picture
patterns.
on?
Yeah, I had a picture up briefly, but I think yours was, yours was better though, I think. So, but basically, yeah, so that is kind of what we are discussing when we are discussing head and shoulders. Yeah, there we go. Here's a really good example. And what Sharif was saying too that I thought was interesting is the shoulders don't have to be exactly the same length. They don't have to be the same distance apart. You can be kind of shrugging.
Yeah.
You could have a slightly hunched back situation. You know what I mean? And then also if like the trough, if you're kind of crooked here and the trough is a little bit higher, then that is apparently a more bearish pattern usually. But if the second trough, mind you, is a little bit lower, then that is a little bit more bullish, which is a new thing that I learned. And that is the head and shoulders.
So the 4 key takeaways for the head and shoulders pattern are as follows. It's a technical indicator on a chart with 3 peaks: left shoulder, head, right shoulder, where the outer 2 are closest in height and the middle is the highest, as depicted there by the diagram. A head and shoulders pattern considered one of the most reliable trend reversal patterns is a chart formation that predicts a bullish to bearish reversal. It's a reversal pattern, not a continuation pattern. The patterns we were talking about on Monday, the ascending triangle, the descending triangle, the symmetrical triangle, these are all continuation patterns, meaning that they continue the trend that preceded them. In this case, it is reversing the trend that preceded them. Number 3, an inverse head and shoulders, exactly the opposite. It predicts a bearish to bullish trend. So imagine this picture here, Raymond. Come to the picture. Imagine this over here with the head, with this basically inverse, where the head would be down and the 2 shoulders would be a little bit higher up than the head. Why am I even bothering? Let me just type in inverse head and shoulders. Inverse head and shoulders.
The internet is wonderful.
Yeah, of course it's fantastic. There it is.
Oh, there.
So this is an inverse head and shoulders over here. Oh, open image in new tab. Dang it, how do I do that? Yeah, I know, there it is. I don't know it sometimes. Okay, so there we go. An invert, the left shoulder, obviously higher than the head, the right shoulder. And look, now look, see the slanted? See how it's slanted?
Yeah, the neckline is a little bit different, but we still have the neckline.
Exactly, exactly. So the neckline for the right shoulder could be different or higher or lower than the neckline for the left shoulder. That is part and parcel of this trend.
Thank you.
Okay?
Very cool.
And then the neckline rests at the support or resistance level depending on what the pattern direction is. So in this case, obviously this is a resistance level because we're coming from lower to higher. And in this case, obviously, it's a support level because we're coming from higher to lower and bouncing off that. And we're looking for a break of support. When you get the break of support, you should be looking for above average volume on the break. So this candle over here and the subsequent candles or whatever, you're looking for above average volume. The comparator should be the local area here, and it doesn't have to be the highest or even the second highest, but it just has to be decidedly higher than the average. What's going on, Katina Man? The Katina Man is now long on NVDA as it pumps up there through VWAP, took 490, now looking at 492 in the face. We're still struggling with 16.1 though on NQ. So the NQ, you know, it really hasn't given me the buy signal yet. I need this bad boy to get above 16.1 by some distance, and then I'd ideally like it to retrace back into that 16.1 area. It doesn't have to be exactly 16.1, it could be 16.106, 05, and then I'd like to get long off that dip, but it really hasn't decidedly taken that 16.01 level. The beautiful part about this is, though, we get a sequence of higher lows indicating, you know, that we are looking possibly to break that 16.1 level, all the while having that 16.1 flat top resistance level for some time now. To the better part of the morning, I want to say it started around 10:30 or so, Dara.
Very interesting one.
Yeah.
Also, update, I was at an NVIDIA short for 10 cents, so I will celebrate because it was a win. My logic was we were at 492, seeing a little bit of resistance. I scalped, I got in, I got out. I will say I was a little bit like, when we got up to like 492.60 for a moment there, I kind of like, oh, that's such a cute little banner for the podcast. Look at that. Sorry, got distracted. But we got to like 492.60 for a moment. I was having a small panic attack. Then we flushed down. I had my buy level ready. We got it. It came in. It was the shortest short of shorts. But yeah, that is just an update in NVIDIA. Very much an upward trend line thus far, though. Right now, we do have the upward channel. So there we go. That was kind of what occurred here.
Yeah, sorry, just have to reconnect my.
Yeah, no worries.
So.
But yeah, so this is upward channel. And I think that like obviously not all patterns will materialize every day in any stock, right? But in this case, you know, you do have a case of NVIDIA here where we did have, you know, very much we have this upper kind of trend line here that we've had more or less since about 10 a.m. So this is kind of note, of interest. Let us take a look. Yeah, I just wanted to take a look at that because I think that's interesting. I know that's one that people have their eye on today as well, what with earnings. Also, yeah, got out of guess. Maybe it got out a little bit too early, but we took profit. I will not cry. It still looks to me like I'd like to see kind of more what we do around VWAP because that was kind of, yeah, no women, no cry. Because we initially kind of took off at VWAP here, so I'd like to, you know, if we get down below VWAP, could be of interest. But yeah, I guess just kind of, you know, like keeping an eye out for levels and seeing what happens. Also, another chart pattern that I'm kind of seeing on Netflix is, shout out to Sharif, the roundy face, smiley face. So not, like, earlier we were really seeing, you know, lower highs. I was trying to do ranges. I obviously got out of the short way too early. Oh my gosh. But yeah, now I'm kind of seeing a very, you know, protracted kind of teeny tiny, potentially a roundy face here from 12:25 to 1, what time are we, 1:37. More likely, though, this is probably just a downward channel or a compression, like we have lower highs, we have lower lows. I am too scared to get involved in Netflix right now, but, you know, definitely some interesting range movement going on in her.
All right, we're going to take a chill for a little bit here. Dad Trader, though, I want to answer your question real quick. Sharif, what do you think about a futures long? I've been talking about this all morning, my man. It really needs to decidedly get above that 16.1 and hold it. You know, if it's going to dance around it like this, it could possibly reject. I do like the higher lows, obviously, from that around 10:30 dip. But since that time, 16.1 has been a clear resistance level. If I had to guess, I think we break it because of the higher lows. But guessing isn't part of the job here. We're going to wait for a decided clearance of 16.1 and then a retracement back into 16.1 to get long. If I miss a trade, I miss a trade. Interesting headline here coming out of Ottawa for any of our Canadians who are interested in buying a home. Ottawa loosens mortgage stress test in housing-focused fall fiscal update. We know that the stress test has been tough on a lot of people trying to get homes. For our American friends, the stress test is essentially you have to qualify based on certain objective criteria, whether you can afford that home or not. It has a lot to do with your income. your down payment, and the current interest rate. And the thing is, with the interest rate, you have to qualify 2 percentage points higher than the current rate. That's what makes it the weird stress test. So if the going rate on a 5-year fixed, let's say it was 7% or 7.25%, you have to qualify for 9.25%, right? And that makes it a lot harder. So interesting rules, rule change coming out of Ottawa there. That'll probably help some people buy homes for our Canadian viewers.
Yes.
Ali, thank you very much, my friend, for the $1.99 super chat. Does Apple have a bull pennant now? I'm looking at the 5-minute, and I would say otherwise. I see a very consolidative area of action here, of price action on Apple. Let's pull it up. You get that big move up, but then look at this. You got the lower high, lower high, and then you danced with VWAP as a resistance level. Now you're getting a smidge above VWAP. So what I see here is sideways consolidation on Apple until you get a decided trend break and a change of this particular trend. I would say no to your question, and that's just my opinion. Let me even look at the 10-minute and the 15-minute to see here. Well, you see a little bit of higher lows here on the 10-minute, which is not a bad look at all. So this
this is not bad actually on the 10-minute.
10-minute shows a bit of a different picture there. So you could get a flat top breakout through that 192. I know 192 has been breached, but look at the closing prints. They're all south of 192. So that's actually a good look there, my friend. Good call on that. I would say, you know, it's more akin to the futures trade that we've been talking about, where the futures have been putting in higher lows with a flat top, right, as aside from a bull pennant. So that's my look on that. Hope that helps. Thank you.
There's Paul Miller has an interesting question too. Do you ever see different patterns of the same ticker on different time frames? And I think the Apple is an example that we didn't really see the flag, you know, until we saw the 10-minute. And we were saying too, I think it was on Monday, because I kind of had this question, and Sharif, you were saying that basically if sometimes it's like if you see a pattern or if you see, you know, a wedge or a triangle on one time frame, maybe check a different time frame to look for a confirmation of that direction, even if it's not, you know, a bull flag or a bear flag. Like let's say you have, I don't know, you have like an ascending wedge, for example, on you know, on a 5-minute time frame of a chart, and then you check to see, you know, another type of bullish movement on a different, you know, chart. Like let's say, oh, I'm seeing a bit of a flag here on a different time frame. So basically, I think like cross-referencing time frames is, I think, maybe more accurate than having to see the same pattern on every time frame based on what I've kind of witnessed. And yeah, I really appreciated the insight on that, because I think, yeah, like looking at different time frames, trading on one and then kind of cross-referencing others to plan your movements and see, is this trade or is the stock a valid one?
Great stuff. Elon, Adira, Sharif, thank you for your hard work, especially during the Thanksgiving holiday. No, thank you, Elon, for coming in and being part of the chat and being part of the views. And thank you for engaging and asking pointed questions. I'm sure if you have that question, there are many other people that are asking that same question as well. We've got about 18 minutes left on the show. We've gone through all three chart patterns a number of times, so we're going to take a little bit of a chill pill now. And maybe look at some of these trades that we haven't been getting into. But right now would be great questions, a great time to ask us questions, either about some of the, you know, ideally about the content that we've been talking about today. If you have other questions, trading related questions, Adair and I would be more than willing to answer them for you. SNS Crew says, Sharif, what do you think about joining trends late like RBLX? Will it continue all day? That's a very good question. And I don't think there's a general rule for that. I think, you know, you're going to have to feel that out. Like, I'm one of those people that I'm very much with the trend trader. I am not a mean reversion trader. There are other people who are mean reversion traders. Have a look at RBLX on the day. Whether or not, you know, you get more really depends on a stroke of luck and also possible resistance and support. So let's chart. Let's go out a little bit and see. Yes, okay, so look at this. This is not by accident that we're up here. Look at this long consolidation over a period of 3 days, that this level, $38 level, was in play. And it was in play as a resistance level, not support. So the fact that we're getting near 38 is just, you know, is very indicative of the previous price action. Let's even see before that. 38 has been a rinse and repeat level for multiple days. 1, 2, 3, even over here, even though we dipped because it is in the pre-market. And then today, again, 4. So 38, a very clear level of resistance. Again, It doesn't have to be 38 on the dot. It's a 38 general area. And that's what you need to understand about this whole trading business is that, you know, it's an art, not a science. So don't look for exact levels to the penny, to the, you know, to the exact dollar to hold. It's a general area. So you're going to have to factor that in when you think about where your stops are going to be, where your profit takers are going to be. It's a general area. So be flexible. But yeah, 38, absolutely. I would expect resistance here. And it looks like we're getting the first half an hour red candle. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green half an hour candles. And now we're getting the first red one. So it's no surprise that we're getting resistance at that $38 level. Huh. Renata says she's long BABA. Shout out to Ian. BABA is down about 0.25% on the day. The real story today is Baidu. Baidu has been an absolute
Day 2
rocket.
earnings,
Day
yeah.
2 earnings, baby. And I guess the market likes what they see here because Baidu up 6.25%. Let's do a little bit of charting on Baidu, BIDU. Let's zoom out a little bit. All right, so we haven't been at these levels on Baidu since mid-October, and then looks like we were in a big downtrend. Let's go to the hourly here. Where did we encounter resistance? I'm going to have to tell you, I really like that 127.5 level, 127, 126.5, that general area. Look at the amount of troughs. We have 1, 2, and then you had a decided break there of 3 on that level. So I think, you know, we could possibly fill this gap, if you want to call it a gap, into this level before we really encounter resistance. So for anybody swing trading, that might be an interesting one there on BIDU. I should probably tell you that Goldman sucks. You like that? I'm not the one that came up with that.
I know, I figured, but it's a fun one.
Yeah, well, I don't think they suck. I'm just joking.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a pun, right?
Yeah,
it's a pun.
They came out with a nice little article today. Well, it was CNBC reporting it, but Goldman opining that China stocks will make its first annual gain in 4 years in 2024. Goldman going long, I guess, these Chinese ADRs. Here's the key points. Goldman Sachs projects the MSCI China and CSI 300 to rise 12 to 15% respectively, underpinned by an estimated earnings growth of about 10% and moderate valuation gains. The Katina man liking that. Goldman Sachs prefers A shares over H shares for its lower sensitivity to geopolitical risk liquidity factors, In their 2024 China equity outlook, Goldman Sachs upgraded the food and beverage sector to overweight from market weight and technology hardware sector to overweight from underweight. So those are the sectors that Goldman likes out of China, and they're looking at possible 12 to 15% rise on the MSCI China and the CSI 300. So, yeah, entering the U.S. from Canada. Oh, boy. Oh, goodness. No, the car. It's just on the entering the U.S. from Canada. That means they came from here. I don't like that. I want them here. Yeah, clearly. Anyway. Yeah, well, okay, we're not gonna. But yeah, that's a little tidbit there about Goldman's outlook on China the rest of the year. Any questions, guys? Elon says many Chinese ADRs are on an overdue secular upturn. I'll take that theory any day. You know I'm involved in Li Auto, and I would love to see that one run, obviously. Full disclosure, anytime I talk about Li Auto, I'm financially invested in the company, so you have to know that. Yeah, well, I don't want everyone to think, you know, I'm pumping my, yeah, that's fair. The Katina man's in NVIDIA. He's taking NVIDIA along. Everybody should know about that. There we go. Grandma Ruby, 143. I love the name. Sharif, thank you. Please continue. Oh, damn it. Please continue to do lessons. I have been learning a lot. I always love watching the channel every day. Been watching for a few months now. Love the change on lessons. Thank you for your comment. There, we will be bringing you much more next week. We talked about chart patterns this week. We talked about risk management last week. On Friday, we'll be announcing to you what Adira and I will be talking about next week as well. So shout out to you, and thank you for the nice comment there. Any other, what what's the opposite of China to the moon? China to the center. Says William Kolar. Okay, I guess he's not a fan of Chinese ADRs.
Yeah.
Point taken, and you're obviously entitled to your opinion there. Thank you for that, William. Blackberry, Adara, Sharif, really interesting examples today. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so much. Also, you know, Tesla, we tried to take a baby short. We failed in a very real adult grown-up way. No, I'm being dramatic. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Basically, we did actually have, you know, we were going down for a moment there, and I was trying to take my profits. We missed the fill by like 1 penny. It flew, and I was like, I'm going to run away for the hills. We did. Not a massive loss. I'm being dramatic. But it is, you know, it's slightly, I probably got in a little bit too late. I was trying to wait to see the trend actually form. I was anticipating instead of participating, and then when I did participate, we par lost some shares. So there we go. That's what occurred there. Also, yeah, Hampton's Trader saying, yeah, I got out early on NVIDIA. I know I did. I like scalping, and we got our 10 cents. I mean, arguably, I should have stayed. I could have gotten a little bit more than 10 cents. What? 10 cents. There we go. Yeah, it's not a brag. Pardon? It is basically a spread. Yeah, Sean has a good point there. I could have stayed a little bit longer. Or should have. I mean, look at this. But yeah, I just wanted to update on that trade. Like, I think like scalping is one thing, but I feel like I definitely limited my profit potential there. So reflexing, or reflecting, not reflexing. My reflex was to get out very early, so that was bad. But yeah, still very much an upward channel here. Definitely could have gotten more out of that short though. So yeah, the spread is a 10 cents thing. It is a thing I'm going to remember because that's a really good point that I need to think about when taking profits.
Okay, a couple of very kind comments here in the chat. Says Hans Beer, I second that. I trade since 2 years. It's wonderful to learn that way with the nicest trader channel on YouTube. Thanks to everyone. Thank you very much, Hans Beer, for your kind words. Kling Daddy, love the education. Evan says you forgot about your trade on MRAI. No, I'm waiting for the break of the $0.50 essentially. And then we're gonna end that one. But we got a nice little dip trade there at VWAP, but this one looks like it will probably stop out. Not a small size. We're just wetting our beak here. Stressla says Grandma Ruby. Yeah, it is a
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Let's talk a little bit about this weekend coming up here. The Prem is back. The annoying and boring. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I don't like the international break because our players always get injured on the international break. Anyway. Big game this week for my man Neil over there, who is a Liverpool fan. It's not just going to be Buffalo playing. Man City will be taking on Liverpool at home. City favored to win, obviously, here. Liverpool in second, ahead of Arsenal by goal differential. And there I just got stopped out of that MRAI trade. Sucks to be me. Liverpool ahead of Arsenal by goal differential by 1 goal, tied on points. They take on City in Manchester, so that's going to be a hell of a game there. Some of the Liverpool players have absolutely been on fire during the international break. You had Mo Salah score 4 goals against Djibouti.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's wild.
You had Luis Diaz score 2 goals, I believe, against Brazil for Colombia. So they've been printing there. Darwin Nunez scored for Uruguay, I believe, against Argentina, I'm pretty sure. By the way, Argentina beat Brazil yesterday, 1-0 ski. Yeah, and then another good game, Newcastle and Chelsea. That's going to be a good one there. They play in Newcastle. St. James Park is a hell of a place to play. Very hard, very ruckus crowd. It's Northern England, and the Northern English fans are notoriously known for being very vocal and very tough to play. Very hard place to play. So yeah, big games: City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle, and then we'll have a couple of decent games. Tottenham, Aston Villa is no slouch of a game either. That's on Sunday. Aston Villa has absolutely been outperforming this year, man. Shout out to Unai Emery. He got fired from Arsenal. He walked off like a dog with his tail in between his legs, but he came back, and like the champion that he is, man, he is doing well at Aston Villa right now on a very fixed budget. They are not spending nearly as much as some of these big players.
Really?
No, they're not at all.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Everton, Manchester United play on Sunday as well. Great games on the Prem this week, Adair.
Yeah. So we're in another NVIDIA short, trying to take more than 10 cents this time. Because yeah, I think honestly the whole 10 cents is a spread thing legitimately made me reflect very hard on like, why am I taking teeny tiny profits but then like larger losses, you know what I mean? So basically my profit plan is—
What do you call that again?
We call that risk management.
No, the expression with the elephant in the bird.
Oh yeah, I don't, the wording of that is really hyper specific, but yeah, it's also NVIDIA is up a lot. I need to, oh my Lord, I need to get out of this, but basically,
it's like eating like a bird and pooping like an elephant.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it's like you take little tiny like bites, and then when something it all goes very wrong.
Exactly.
And that is what I've been doing, and I've been trying to not do that. So yeah, next time, taking more than 10 cents of profit, although it looks like we will be taking a pretty big L here on NVIDIA, so we're ending that trade here. But, oh.
Tina Man is long 490.50
Nice.
on NVDA, $2 in the money as we step up incrementally on NVDA here. Have a look at the 5-minute look here. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this higher low situation here. A very clear uptrend. We've now broken above VWAP on NVDA. We're still below yesterday's closing print, which was just a smidge south of 500 at that 499 and a third. We're getting into it though. We've cleared VWAP, so we'll see how this one ends up trading. People asking what's going on with Apple. I would say we rejected that 192 level and we're coming back down, holding 191 and a third. So not really much to talk about there. Shout out to Reliable, the Hayes Records. I was about to say Reliable. Shout out to the Hayes Records. 1 for 4 today. Slight red day, he says, on Amazon options for your boy. B word are hugging VWAP. Yes. That we've been talking about Amazon ad nauseum on the show today because of its possible bull flag pattern.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been holding.
It is
VWAP.
like really, everybody's like waiting, like stressing out here.
Right?
That's crazy.
So that is a look. Shout out to the Hayes Records for that. Good, 1 for 4. I'm pretty sure you had a good week. I'm pretty sure you've been pumped all week.
Pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving.
We need like a pun animation of sorts. We're gonna have to think about.
I don't think we should like give me the satisfaction of that. I already am
okay.
making too many bad puns already. Like we don't really need to like encourage that. But thank you, I appreciate that.
JSEC says you are all wonderful. Through your openness, you give thousands of people a chance to achieve their dream career. My friend, thank you very much for your kind words. We're just telling you some of the basics here about technical analysis. The actual trades are going to be on the big show. Make sure to join us every morning, 8:30 to 4:30, every trading day. We are always live, whether we have holidays in Canada or not. We will be here. Shout out to you and thank you for the kind words, JSIC. Any other comments or questions here before we wrap this up? We have about 3 minutes left on the show, Adair.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really cool talking about pennants and flags, and I feel like I've learned a lot because, like I was saying, I was getting still a little bit too confused between all of them. But no, flag on Amazon, pennant on ARM.
Yes.
And the whole measuring of the flagpoles to time the breakout was really interesting. Also remembering the elephant and bird lesson from last week with regards to profit taking, because the quote I always say, trying to be like 21 Savage, take less L's and make more M's. Always the goal, and hopefully we're helping people learn some stuff today, because I feel like I have been hopefully learning quite a lot, especially with chart patterns. Too bad we could not really see a head and shoulders in the wild. That was a bit unfortunate. But yeah, we did that like literally it's like so intense watching the Amazon flag slowly develop. Very interesting. Excited to kind of see how the rest of the week develops after everyone hopefully has a wonderful Thanksgiving tomorrow.
That woman, Charlie Javis, who sold her company to Goldman and faked all those accounts, has been sentenced to 30 years. Dang.
Wow, I did not hear about
30
that.
years she got sentenced there. So that's a tough look for her. She's the ex-CEO. I forget the name of the company, but she's not, I guess she's not alleged anymore because she's been found guilty, so now we can say she did. She faked accounts. And the way they discovered it was they tried to, when they acquired the company, they tried to send emails to all those accounts for some sort of advertising.
So bad.
And they got like a 90% bounce back rate. 90% of those emails or something like that in the vicinity, maybe even higher, came back as not real. Like,
I'm looking this up after. Oh my
it's this
Lord.
woman over here.
Oh my, she's young.
Yeah,
Charlie
she's 31.
Javis.
She got that 30.
30 under 30?
Yes. Yeah, she got that 30 under 30 award from somebody, and she's been sentenced. Big boy here.
Yikes.
Dang. But yeah, that's the way it is. Well, 1 minute left on the show. Adara, as we
Indeed.
send it over to the Big Kahunas, they will be doing their fair share of trading. We've been dancing in front of 16,100 on the NQ all morning. We've been putting in higher lows on the futures contract, the NQ 16.1. This is what we've been looking at all day. It hasn't materialized yet, but the higher lows are definitely still in place. So this could actually break. The roof could come off on this NQ trade. Sometime in the afternoon here. Make sure to join the closing show, which will be starting in a few minutes. I believe Brendo is getting ready at the big desk. We'll be sending it to him when he's ready. But that 16.1 area has been in focus all morning, Adara, and it's been helping buoy and lower some of these other big tech names.
Yeah, it's been a crazy day.
NVIDIA looking awfully similar in chart pattern to the NQ.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to show you the NQ, the higher lows here with that flat top. Look at NVIDIA. The difference between NVIDIA and the NQ is you have higher highs as well on NVIDIA. So what do we call this chart pattern?
We call this an ascending channel.
And with that, we will leave you. I'll let you sign off.
Yeah. Great day, everyone. Hopefully people learned some stuff. Really exciting day. Tune in for Friday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Tune in for Friday for our last day of chart patterns. And for now, we'll see you then. Same bat time, same bat channel. Brendo's at the big desk.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in 2 o'clock on a busy afternoon here as we head through to the Thanksgiving holiday, as the guys are saying, they're coming up tomorrow. A number of things